We have another mystery school teaching, Soul Tribe chat, and tarot reading today. And if you'd like some $10 mini readings at the end of our collective reading, so whenever you do come across this live, feel free to just take in a deep breath. As always, connect with that inner source of yours to see what parts of this message or of this talk may resonate with you. Now, Blue Rose Temple is going to be going live, your spiritual bestie. For those of you who have been watching the readings, we are spiritual besties, and I'm going to be going live for the next few weeks to be talking about creating a soul-aligned reality. How do we step into the energy of co-creation? How do we step into our remembrance? I almost said roles, but how do we step into our remembrance of co-creators? As for 2026, we are transitioning into the year of the horse, so we are getting ready. All right, hello, Louie. Hello, DJ. How are you? Feel free to put a comment in the box below. Put some comments in there. Say hello. Say hello to your neighbor. Feel free to put your sun, moon, and rising in the comments below so that I know that you're here so we could start our talk on the law of mentalism. Okay, we're going to be getting in a reading as well. Feel free to put your questions in the comments on the law of mentalism or just any spiritual questions that you may have, any spiritual topics. Now is the time to talk about it because we are spiritual besties. Okay, so spiritual bestie, do readings on Virgo. I can do an earth signs live. Let's see, what time is it? 1:14. I planned on being live for just about like 2 hours or so. We're going to be going over the law of mentalism. So like, what does it really take to create a soul-aligned reality? We're going to be focusing on that, and we're still going to be doing readings for all of the signs and everything else. So we're going to be getting in a collective reading today. All right, and then $10 mini readings if anyone would like. I want to join you on a spiritual retreat. Yes, go to 144bluerosetemple.com. We're going to be in Puerto Rico for the 11/11 portal of next year. Okay, so you have 11 months to prepare to get ready for the Puerto Rico retreat. So feel free to go to the website, 144bluerosetemple.com. Hot leopard. Oh, are you a leopard that is doesn't need a jacket? Are you hot and temperature? Hot leopard, hello. I like Transcendental. I love that song. Hello, hello, hello. If you are here, put a comment in the box below. Say hello to myself. Say hello to your neighbor. Say hello to each other so we can get started on this talk of the law of mentalism. So the law of mentalism is the big Om. At least that's how I have always seen the law of mentalism. It's the big Om, the universal mind. All is created by the mind. And this live is actually in response to a question that someone had for me to go live. All right, feel free to email me, put it in the comments on the videos or the community post, the topics you want me to go live on. We're going live for Mystery School again. All right, and if you want the real Mystery School Goddess juice, feel free to go to patreon.com/Blue Rose Mystery School for all of the esoteric Mystery School juice that is not public. Do you do astral projecting? I actually highly recommend not to astral project. I'm someone that all of that stuff came very easy to me. I'm all the clairs, very open. And I remember in the beginning of my journey, like I would meet people that they go into Discord group chats and they astral project together. I'm just like, I mean, that sounds like a good time too. Like it does sound like a good time, but you know, the astral is not our human realm. And so we cannot approach the astral realm as the human realm. I find a lot of people who do this astral projecting, they get lost in the sauce. You know, they get astral parasites. They get astral entity attachments. One, you should be very purified when you go into the astral. You know, if you're someone who's like, and again, none of this is bad. I'm giving an example. Say you're just smoking weed all day. None of this is bad. I have a lot to say about that when it comes to shamanism. Like Red Bull, weed, this, that, you know, like not a grounded person. You know, like you got the crystals, but not grounded. That type of person should not be astral projecting. You know, The astral, there's no good or bad, right? So say, for example, in the astral realm, you come across who you think is your mom giving you a message. That might not be your mom giving you a message. And so the astral is just, I am actually someone, to answer your question, long story short, yes, exactly. Utter nonsense, Solara, nonsense. It's nonsense. I don't recommend astral projecting, you know, to have fun or anything like that. No such thing. There's no such thing. It's nonsense. There's no such thing, everyone. Hide user on channel. There we go. There is such thing. However, I do not recommend it to, like, just for fun, you know, and things like that. I would get questions all the time of like, but how do I astral project? I would say master everything else first and then do all of that stuff, because that stuff, you know, it is like wormholes, loopholes, all those different things. All right, if you are in the chat, put a comment in the box below so that I know that you are here. Say hello to me, say hello to your neighbor, say hello to all of our soul familia as we start this talk on the law of mentalism, all right, creating a soul-aligned reality. If you want to dive deeper, if you want some goddess juice, you could go to the Patreon Blue Rose Mystery School for all things Mystery School unfiltered that I cannot say publicly. All right. We're going to be doing an end of the year party, December 29th. Patreon members, you get in for free. Everyone else, you can join for 1555, okay? 1555, 1555 USD. Thanks. Any info retreats, this typing is messing up. Sorry, hon. No worries. You can go to 144bluerosetemple.com. Yes, say hello to your soul familia. We're going to be getting in a collective reading today for all of the co-creators out there, and just in general. Blue Rose Temple, now I always have, but especially for 2026, we're just focusing on co-creation. Manifestation, co-creation, how to create a soul-aligned reality. And then for the ones, you know, for those of us that are doing it, let us call each other in on our telepathic phones, right? And really, how do we call in the soulmates, the soulmates that are in alignment with our, say, highest timeline, with our highest good? You know, it's letting the universe know I am ready for those soulmates. You know, for those of you who are, you know, business owners, things like that, soul clients, right? Because even when it comes to your soul mission, soul purpose, I also use the word soul business, or like soul entrepreneurs, that you are in business in some way, shape, or form, but you're doing it from a place of the soul, of the heart, and with integrity, because those two can coexist. You know, call them in, and it's letting the universe know I'm ready for all of those people, ready for the co-creators, and I'm ready to co-create. Hello to Estonia. This stream is about the law of mentalism, how everything starts in the mind. We're going to be getting in a tarot reading, so we're going to be talking a little bit about it as we do a tarot reading, as we usually do our Soul Tribe chats. And then we're going to be doing $10 mini readings if anyone would like. I stopped doing them, and then people started asking again when I go live. So if you'd like, the $10 mini readings are still up. You can Cash App Goddess Energy 444. Hello, Gary. Hello, Louise. Wear your robe of love and light. Nothing can touch or attach in the astral. Your love and light is stronger than any darkness. Ashe, yes. There's no darkness will ever want to come near you. Yeah, and how does darkness not want to come? Look, Jesus. What did Jesus do? What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do if the dark came? Jesus would say, let there be light. And then there would be light. All right, let me stop. Jesus, healer of the ages over here. You know, but with that, because I actually thought of Hades, right? Before Jesus, Yeshua, went to the cross, he went to Hades first to do a lot of integration. You know, nothing shall touch you when you have already integrated it. And those are esoteric secrets or tips. Whatever you have dealt with, whatever you have faced, it cannot touch you. Whatever you have integrated, it cannot touch you. And that's why I see, and again, I'm answering like Jesus is still here. We are going live for the next few weeks, just answering all of your questions. Email me, put them in the comments. This particular live is answering a question from someone from the community posts of really the law of mentalism is what they were asking of like, yeah, but what happens when people think these things? Is it considered spell work? Is it sent your way? The law of mentalism, though, where everybody's thinking a whole lot of things. But it's once you come into control, right? And control, say, mastery of your mind, of the thoughts. And really it's master of being the observer, right? That first step of controlling our mind is understanding not everything in your mind is of your mind, right? Where so many negative thought forms could be projected upon us. We could take on a thought or belief from someone else, and it actually was never our own. Especially with fear, right? Of like fear. We see this with religion, with family. Fear this, fear that, of like, oh, actually, that wasn't my own. Say like the fear of candles. I have a family member that just is terrified of candles due to religious reasons, that they can't even look at one. They feel like someone's going to put a spell on them. That was, say, never my fear, right? Say I was raised by that person, it becomes my fear, but it never was actually even a thought or belief until that person brought it up. Can we feel thoughts through time and space? Yeah, to a certain degree we can. You can also shield yourself. If you're someone who's very sensitive, it's creating a pillar of light every day. A pillar of light or just whatever works for you every day. I'm someone who's very sensitive. So I'm someone who does need a lot of cleansing, clearing, grounding, but I'm also someone who came a long way. Where I was 10 years ago, how sensitive I was is not how sensitive I am today. Or sometimes people are like, do you not feel that? And I'm like, yeah, I feel that, but it's over there and you can't come my way. I'm just looking at you through the fence, but you can't go over the fence, and so we can feel things through time and space. The law of mentalism, everything starts in the mind. Before you take an act, before you do something, it starts in the mind. Before magic is magic, before you light the candle, it has to start in the mind, or else, where would it, like, what is fueling, say, the candle, right? It's your thought first. You put that thought into the candle, whether it be through words or just thinking it. The candle's just a candle. Mind gives it the power, right? Mind is so powerful. And that's really what this is about, answering someone's question on, can someone do spell work on me if they're thinking things? They can think things, and I've seen things manifest from thoughts. But once you know how, and I always say that, once you know how energy works, you know how energy works. I just told someone that even about their favorite colors. Yeah, about our favorite colors, our interests. And that's that whole journey of unlearning and coming back home, right, to ourselves, where our family and society infiltrates what we think is ours, right? Of like, oh, I love to, say, for example, my mother put me in basketball. I loved basketball. She wanted me in basketball. I actually love this, right? Things like that. Or say you live in the United States of America, right? This is something that it was more of YouTube and traveling that really opened this up for me. We think, that things are one way. You meet people from other countries, from other states, this or that. The way that you think is because of where you live. And that's what I would say, even the spiritual journey of traveling to all of these different states, these different gurus and coaches from all these different religions. I've met hundreds of people. If you include, online, offline, probably thousands of people. And again, it's like we're all operating from a place of like, this is my truth. And it's this infinite journey of like, oh, wait, that wasn't my truth, right? Oh, wait, that's how I was raised, but is it really my truth? Is it what I like to do, or what I was told that I like or even don't like, right? So the law of mentalism, it goes so deep, where that's also how people manipulate you, right? The law of mentalism, they try to control your mind. What is black magic? Black magic is not something that I fear at all. I don't watch any videos of like who's doing black magic on me. I don't go to tarot readers of who's doing black magic on me. Black magic is control and fear. And most of the time, it's really just, again, manipulating the outer reality for you to come into a place within. And then your life is responding to you from how you're, right? Of like your outer reality is then like, say, right, black magic, hexes, curses. Doesn't hold, it holds power. It doesn't hold any power. But the way it's going to try to manipulate you to think that it does is through infiltrating fear into your mind. Oh my gosh, I'm getting spiritually attacked. I have a flat tire. Which sometimes it's not like, it's not a spiritual attack. You just have a flat tire. I saw a video about that today too, of like, not everything negative is a spiritual attack. We live in the fourth plane is duality. We experience God in the fourth plane through good and bad. And that's exactly what fourth dimensional consciousness is, which is why we're all shifting to fifth dimensional consciousness right together. We don't have to, you know, be in these infinite loops of suffering and pain and this and that and lack, etc. Those are fourth dimensional ways to experience God. Let's see. I'm going to answer some of the questions here too. Blessings to you. Thank you for being here. Say hello to your neighbor in the comments below. Yes, your outer world reflects your inner world. Yeah, to a certain degree. And then, you know, sometimes the outer world, especially when you feel like, well, this is not my truth. This is absolutely not my truth. If it doesn't change, what is it asking to change within you? Can you spiritually predict the lottery? I've seen people do it, but I'm not going to say that I know how to do it. If I did, Spirit wouldn't tell me that I actually knew the numbers. I'd give you numbers. I wouldn't even know that they are. And then they are. We're also not meant to, let's see, abuse our spiritual gifts, right? That's a topic of conversation. We can't use our spiritual gifts for greed. Or it's like, say I'm very clairvoyant. I could very, like, you know, the kind of thing where it's like, oh, I could do it. I could, but I'm not going to. You know, it's like, I could do that, and I have the power to do that, but I'm not going to do that. That's this journey too, you know, and that's why it's like the black magicians, all that, like it never works, you know, because it's like you could do certain things, but you don't do that because of, you know, law, balances, things like that. And even all that goes into a rabbit loophole. I have a hard time getting up and going about my day like everything is fine. For the life of me, I can't understand how others do it. And I would say that I commend you for that, as others, how do I word this? The first step to changing our reality, though, is knowing that there is something to change, right? Like I, for example, as a spiritual coach, right, I'm trying to come out of the word healer. You know, I don't want to go by the word healer anymore, because nobody's a healer or savior of anyone anyway. But I wrote an email newsletter to everyone a few days ago. I have another one coming today, but we're not doing the word healer. I think that that word is just being taken and going like this, and spiritual and even just society, community, you know, say as like a spiritual coach, maybe. I think the first step is being honest with us of like, this sucks. And I was just saying that today. That's the first step of shadow work, of this is actually my truth, is I'm not 100% happy, right? The symptoms of not living a soul-aligned reality, or not being able to express your soul, is depression. A lack of expression is depression. When we're not living soulfully aligned, where all of these things are coming up, because, you know, again, it's like this is that inorganic, right, unnatural feeling, I guess you could say. Like, you know, when, say, you eat something that's very fresh, you know, and then like a Lay's potato chip compared to like a organically grown whatever, like you're gonna completely taste and feel the difference. I feel like it's the same thing with the quality of life, right? We think of the quality of food, same thing. When we're not living soul aligned, you know, it's like we're feeling it. We know that these changes have to come, etc. And so if anything, I would say that that's like the first step, and I commend you for like also feeling that of like, I can't fake it like these other people are. And it's also understanding that those people are, not that they're faking it, they've accepted it. You know, and even when you say that, I get that Sekhmet energy of like the sacred rage, leadership. I want to make a change in my life, etc. And that's where it all starts there. Like even for me, that's how a lot of the change and evolution in my life started, of like just the mirror reflection of, say, my life every day or this situation every day. It's got to change. You know, it's like that frustration, that fire, the sacred fire, you know. I have a hard time getting up and going about my day, like everything is fine. Yeah, and I would say make those moments in your day to release. Scream in a pillow. If you can, go to one of those places. What are those places that you destroy everything? They have them here in Connecticut. I don't know if they have them in other places. A rage room. A rage room. Scream. Get it out. Growl. You know, things like that. Most people in this world are very suppressed. They are getting up every day, working a job that they may not very much like. A lot of people are married to people that they don't like, you know? And, but it's like, well, this is just the way that things are, you know? And I think that's, again, the beginning of making that change in your life of, things don't just have to be like this. You know, things don't just have to go around like a wheel that I just accept, you know? And so also just cleansing and clearing all of those energies from you, bringing you into alignment with all of your blessings too. Imagine seeing this at night. Sometimes I go live at night. I might go live tonight, actually. Today, the topic is the law of mentalism and creating your own reality, where the mind plays a powerful role in all of creation. You know, our mind, in ancient mystery schools, they say our true mind was the heart, you know, and our mind is to navigate this realm, right? Our mind is almost like a galactic spiritual technology in a sense, right? Let's see. Edgar Casey used to guard against self-serving questions about lottery and stock tips. Yeah, nope. Used to guard against self-serving questions. I don't know. Is it self-serving to win the lottery? If someone wins the lottery, then that in itself, I think, is the law of mentalism too. If you won the lottery, is it really self-serving? If you are in operation to the highest and the most, I would think that a light worker getting blessed with the lottery, that is service to all. I think that's the law of mentalism right there, right? When I receive, I serve all. So when I receive, it's not just for me, it's not self-serving. Anything I receive, any dollar, any penny, any support, any resource, because it is for me, it is for all. However, there could be someone who is, you know, are ready for themselves, and they're planning to win the lottery for themselves anyway. They're self-serving. I would say I would actually recommend to all light workers, all chosen ones, come out of the energy that if I receive, I'm self-serving. You're a light worker. You know, I'm not going to go there. You know exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, you know damn well that the second you receive something, it's turning into a retreat. It is free readings. It is this. It is that. You are now furthermore in alignment to host that or to do this, to help more people. As a light worker, and that's the law of mentalism too, all light workers, chosen ones, as I receive, there is no limit to the amount that I receive, law of mentalism. And as I receive, more people receive through me. As I receive, even more people receive through me. Hello, Yellow Beast. What is this doubt? What is it? 2026, Blue Rose Temples, the spiritual besties. Where are we at? Thank you, Michael, and blessings to you. I literally just released screaming. It's so difficult to live, but I love my life. I want to give I give a lot of stories, so I also don't kind of want to give a story. I give too many stories. I'll give the short story. Long story short, this morning I was in Walmart. They were taking a long time, and I was kind of getting a little bit frustrated. But then I was just like, these three workers, like Walmart pays minimum wage. It's the holiday season, and people are treating them terribly for minimum wage. I am not going to get pissed off at their lack of like an immediate response. I'm actually not going to get frustrated. These people, you know, working for a less than livable wage and get treated like crap. I'm not going to get frustrated. Long story short, manager calls me up, the worker calls the person behind me. That person treated that worker like crap. And that person told the worker, finally, it's like you've remembered your job or something. These people get paid less than livable wage, and you're talking to them like that. During the holiday season, what I did was I handed that worker in front of the lady a Dunkin' Donuts gift card. And that's exactly, see, we receive to give, because I'm not going to just watch that with my eyes during the holiday season. You know, not everyone celebrates, but you don't have to do that to people, you know. And that's in response to, like, I literally just released screaming, it's difficult to live. Yeah, where, you know, what's going on in the world right now is evolution. We are evolving in consciousness. And that's the law of mentalism. Everything is consciousness. And that is a true belief that I have. Everything is consciousness, everything. This card. I started off with YouTube on giving 4 years ago, I did a tarot course on, let's look at the consciousness of these cards. You know, rather than looking at the devil card and being scared, what's the consciousness of the devil card? What is the consciousness of the emperor card? Because that's the highest truth of all things. All deities are consciousness. Everything is. And if we remember that, we can create our own realities. Maybe a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but a little bit more harmoniously. A lot of people who win the lottery actually end up worse. Well, a lot of people who win the lottery end up worse because what happens is money is light. So money's not dark at all. Money's not dark. And maybe that's actually the reason for going live today for light workers and chosen ones. Abundance is not dark at all. It's the people that are. I've seen a lot of good people come across money and then like shift and change, right? The money is just light. Everything is consciousness and light. You hold where's my fake money? I have a bunch of ancestral fake money. Where is it? There it goes. Hold on. Let's see. Are we going to grab that? Yeah, we're going to grab that. Today's my cleaning day. Don't mind my white sweatpants. Money, right? This is ancestral money, so this is not actually $100, but everything is consciousness, right? So when someone wins $1 million and then they turn into like an a-hole or this or that, like they turn into different things, it was always there. It was always there. And it wasn't the money that changed the person. So I almost called this a different thing. Abundance is divine. It's very divine. You know, there's ancient systems that describe our bartering system in the world and why money was even, like, say, invented, or more bartering systems, right, of exchange for things in this realm. When someone wins the lottery and they turn into like an a-hole, it was there. That was already there. This is light, and this light, right? Temptation, right? And that's why I always say, like, there's love and light. And then there's false love and light. You know, the shadow was always there anyway, right? Or it's like, you know, someone wins the lottery. Well, you know, there's also the lessons of boundaries. You have more light in your energetic field. And so for anyone watching this too, say you win the lottery. You now have more light in your energetic field. Why do people sometimes lose it so quickly? More light requires more boundaries. It requires actually more healing, right? It's like that old wound that came, you know, that you didn't have to deal with before. Now there's an increase of this. This is showing that, you know? So wealth and prosperity is always light. I actually personally don't play the lotto. I don't play the lottery at all. I feel like I'd rather be the lotto, right? And I actually never quite understood. I will say, as a tarot reader, I can't tell you how many chosen ones say, God told me I'm going to win the lotto. All of them. And so out of all of these, say, and at this point, hundreds, and I want to tell you hundreds, believe that they're going to be the one who wins the lotto. Not all those people can even logically win the lotto. What I think it is when we speak of the lottery, which, you know, and I feel like there's something here for someone. The lottery has the number 777, right? You look at the lottery, all of them, the gambling, it's 777. There's a dark tactic to that, right? That's the law of mentalism right there. Oh, I'm going to get lucky. You be the 777. You be the lottery. It's coming from like a place of, it's not always coming from a place of lack. I know you could win the lottery and you deserve it, it changes people's lives. But then people are seeking the lottery, right? That's 777 when they should have been seeking soul alignment. They should have been seeking God, right? That's light 2, which would bring that money into their lives. I don't know. It goes deep, right? It goes deep. You resemble Bambi. There's a lot of different. What do you mean by? Are you talking about the deer Bambi? I'll take that too. That's fine. I think deers are very cute, but there's a few other Bambis too. So I'm wondering. Yeah, we are going live for Mystery School. If you want to get some goddess juice, dive deeper than what we can speak about publicly, we do it on Patreon. Blue Rose Mystery School. And we are going to be getting in a reading, so I'll start the reading too. We're still going to go on with our soul tribe chat, spiritual besties. And Kari, I do want to mention that too when it comes to like soul alignment, because someone wrote, I just released Screamed. It's difficult. Like life is difficult, but I love my life. That's exactly where it starts, where to truly make a change in your life is to step out of the false love and light of like, well, everything's great. Actually, everything's not too great. I'm very grateful for the duality, though. I am grateful for what this shadow is reflecting to me. And I'm so open to more from the divine, from the universe. And that's what like opens the door for more or for a change. Oh, can I neigh like a horse and give my best neigh? It's not the year of the horse yet, but maybe next year I will. Who knows? Can you recommend any tea or remedies for ascension symptoms? Ascension symptoms. So I automatically think of grounding. I love grounding. Turmeric is also just amazing for cleansing, and turmeric, right? It's ground. So ginger, turmeric is really good for ascension symptoms, where that will just cleanse you out from the inside, can ease anxiety, right? It's also very grounding. Like I recommend usually grounding things when it comes to ascension symptoms, or even, ascension symptoms, Kundalini awakenings, things like that. Yeah, it's crazy how a single compliment can affect people. Yeah, and that's why it's so important, like, to be that light sometimes. Like for the example, that situation I just shared in Walmart where this person's being so rude to the lady who works there. She's like, finally, did you forget that you work here? They're already working less than a livable wage. Ma'am, sir, lady, please be nice. It's holiday season. So I gave the worker a gift card right in front of that lady's face. On purpose, though, too. I will admit, maybe that was that really nice? I don't know. But I did it in front of her because I'm just like, why are you treating this woman? Actually, no, it probably was good. That's what the universe does, right? The universe is like, oh, you want to do that? I'm going to bless that person right in front of you. And I just had to. And I've said before, there's certain things I can't see. I do mean that. There's just certain things I can't see with my eyes. Or I'm like, no, I'm going to give you a blessing right in front of her because that was not nice. It's not nice to say that someone has a huge nose either. Thanks for the sweat. Thank you. The sweatpants are nice though. But the sweatpants are nice. Thank you. Good, fake money. Yeah, this is fake. This is not real. This is ancestral money, which you could buy for like $2. You could buy ancestral money for $2. You could write things on it, leave it on your altar, things like that. I have ancestral money like on my altar. Sis, you help me understand lottery consciousness. Is the lottery a consciousness? I think we're onto something over here in this chat. But again, that's how they get you when it comes to the I don't play the lottery. But like 777, come play the lotto. Come make the government rich while you're wondering of why you're not winning. It's an infinite karmic loophole. You are the lottery. And that's at least how I see it, where we are the lottery. I'm not playing no lotto. I'm going to hit the lotto in the Akashic records and my life is going to shift and change where things are flowing easier, you know. But it's also not to say, like, you know, blessings to anyone who wins the lotto. I also think that it's a blessing to anybody. Because, I mean, the lotto's real, just not everybody wins it, right? But again, I think that that's one way that our systems in the world keep people stuck from actually being abundant, right? Of like, oh, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm going to... So you already don't have a lot of money, right? And then you're going to play. And I think a lot of us saw like our grandmas, grandpas do this of like, oh no, I'm spending $20 a week on scratch offs, and they never win. Right? But they see the 777, it real law of mentalism reels you in, right? That's an emotional reaction of, oh, I don't have a lot of money, I'm in lack, but I see a 777, this sounds promising. And then you end up in that, you know, infinite, say, I don't know, karmic loophole. And we just see this in all other areas of our lives too, you know. But, you know, again, I personally do not believe that money is the root of all evil. I believe that money is light. Anything is consciousness. And money is a consciousness that can easily bring anyone into the root of survival, or the root of greed. Because we speak of the root of all evil. I've seen people in survival mode with nothing do a whole lot of evil from being in the root, right? And so I just don't look at it the same way, you know. The root of evil is the root of survival or greed. People who are in the root, either way, even if it's survival, I've seen them do some crazy things. I've seen people greed do crazy things too. If the root is imbalanced, I think that's just what it is. That's when that gets triggered, right? The root is where fear, security, right? The darkest place is the root. And that's what abundance, prosperity systems can trigger. But we can see it as just light in consciousness as well. Everything is consciousness. That's the law of mentalism anyway. Everything is consciousness. Ascension symptoms. So that could be physical symptoms, emotional, you know, that you're feeling through your awakening. Right, I've seen people even just purge physically. For me, I usually get like a little cold sometimes when I'm going through ascension symptoms, where I release a lot of mucus. They say our mucus holds on to grief and other things. So it could be things like that, you know. I actually try to stay away from the ascension symptoms talk, where, you know, online spiritual, I say 6 years ago, you might have a headache. That means that you're experiencing ascension. You know, now being on this app, say for 5 years, I don't think that that serves anyone. It's such a common symptom. You have people thinking that they're, you know, say you think, oh, it's just ascension symptoms. Oh, no, that's an aneurysm. Go, you know, you need to go check that, you know, where not everything's ascension symptoms, but we can feel it physically. There's sometimes even when you feel like more tired, you know, where, again, I would always say check the physical body first, because sometimes, you know, there has to be a balance. Not everything's ascension symptoms. But like, say, being more tired. Sometimes for me, I don't want to do too much. Like, I really just feel like just surrendering and being present and being open to what spirit has for me. Sometimes that's an ascension symptom for me, where spirit's just saying, hey, just stop doing things. Be very present right now. You know, things like that. And so paying attention to your body, what works for you. Thank you. I was actually about to start the collective reading too. I'm thinking it in my mind, and you write calm attachment and ego death. Yes. Yeah, some people can be rude. It's okay. Right? We experience God through duality. That's actually something that this app, like say YouTube, and it wasn't YouTube, like I was always in dance and music and modeling as a kid, where I do have a memory of runway walk at like 7 years old. So unfortunately, I was already exposed to certain things of the industry from a very young age. But, you know, for example, say everybody writes here, and this is just for everyone too. Like, if you look at all my videos, I do not respond to, you look really pretty today. I don't respond to those things. And you could go check. I'll maybe heart it, or I don't respond to it, because why would I listen to those things but not listen to, like, say for, and I'm just going to call it out too. There was that, someone's responding to a comment that someone just said I have a big nose. If I only listen to positive comments about me and I don't listen to the negative, that's still imbalanced, right? Where like neither one can be true. Maybe neither one is true. I don't know. I'm just someone who's very balanced. I like to hold myself accountable too. I do love criticism, constructive criticism in different ways. But the internet is just funny like that, right? But it also builds you. The law of mentalism. And so, for anyone also who wants to, say, put their soul gifts on the internet, that's when we realize, oh, wow, we are not Alice. We are not in Wonderland anymore. Even if it's spiritual online community, you still get those types of comments and things. I'm not going to say all of it is necessary, but there is a balance to both things. Right? Some people are so rude. Oh, they can be. Calm detachment, ego death. I can't wait to see this reading. Like a documentary. Some of these readings are documentaries. We're going to be going live, though, for Mystery School teachings. So these are going to be Mystery School teachings. And then we get in a reading. And if you'd like a mini reading, feel free. All right, now let's get one on co-creation and the law of mentalism. Cornucopia, I love it. Let's get one on the law of mentalism and co-creation. What is it that we are creating? Believe, master, manifester. Yes, the logos. What is it? The I am that I am. Let there be light. Let there be this. Let there be that. That's what we're coming into as a world, as a collective. 2026 is going to be the beginning of us really seeing these co-creator codes coming through in the year of 2026. We're again chosen ones, light workers. You've been getting ready. I'm sorry, but the year of 9 was getting ready. The year of 9 was closing out final karmic cycles to step into the energy of co-creator. Again, just like these stories that we see, you are the masters of this reality. So we speak of ascended masters. You are the masters of this reality. And what I'm seeing is a key. 144,000 chosen ones, you have a key to create your own reality. And that is how the 144K leads the way. You have the keys to create your own reality in a world where people are just like, oh, I can't stay in my life. I hate my life. You're a co-creator. Go create a new one. Change it, right? Align to your highest timeline. So let's see what's coming in for this law of mentalism, this talk on the law of mentalism, on co-creation. You think it, you create it. Be mindful of the thoughts in your mind. Again, not all of your thoughts are your thoughts. Filtering out what does not resonate with your soul. Filtering out what is not of your own. For the law of mentalism and co-creation, for all the co-creators out there, period, all the co-creators out there, what do we have for all the co-creators out there? Why cornucopia for all of the co-creators out there? There's a strategy that requires you. We have the angel of strength over here. And then strategy. Some of you might be journaling, sacral chakra, which is creation. That's another way to get what's in your mind on paper, or even just manifested. Get it out of your mind. That's what happens when you light a candle. When you light a candle, what's actually happening is your consciousness is going into the candle, manifesting it into your reality, right? So say you're lighting a candle, you're trying to say, maybe call in, I don't know, say abundance, right? And so when it comes to calling in abundance, say it's not in your life already, you're thinking it, right? You light the candle, you birth it into your reality. It's the same thing just with anything. And so for some of you, get to journaling. I highly recommend a journal that's just for scripting. I'm looking at my journal that's just for scripting. I have a separate journal for my shadows. So I call it like a shadow log. And then I have a journal for scripting, for creating your own reality. Keep it separate. Keep a journal that's just for creating your own reality, those affirmations, etc. Now, what do we have for the chosen ones, for the ancient souls? What do we have for the chosen ones, for the ancient souls? The co-creators of the world, of these universes. What do we have for the co-creators out there? What is the message today for all of the co-creators out there? What is the message today? Appreciate yourself. And this kind of goes, though, with what it is that we're talking about in the chat over here. You know, there were a few people that said of like, you know, I'm not quite happy with where my life is right now, but I'm grateful and I want it to change. Boom. That's where it starts. And even when it comes to the law of mentalism, you know, nothing changes if we lie to ourselves, right? And so in your mind, you are open to more. In your mind, you are open to things shifting. You know that things have to change. It says appreciate yourself. Long-lasting fulfillment comes from the ability to create your own internal peace and happiness. Feeling sad, lonely, or even insecure is part of the soul's growth. Appreciate who you are and the unique qualities that you offer to the world. Yeah, appreciating who you are before anybody else sees it, right? Before you actually attract and manifest those things, it's you knowing, and that's the law of assumption. I am already this. I am this. I am that I am. So it's a little bit of the law of mentalism, right? Even just having the thought, but then the law of assumption, assuming, knowing. Over here, the universe is always conspiring in my favor. You know, I'll give an example of that's something that I've really adopted as an assumption that is like a truth for me now. The universe is always conspiring in my favor, and it does. There's nothing about me. You know, some of us, we just talk. There is nothing about me that doubts that the universe is conspiring in my favor. Yesterday with my 6-year-old, we go to laser tag. I just walk into laser tag. I walk in. 2 people hand me cards with points on it. Hey, we're about to leave. Do you want one? Hey, we're about to leave. Do you want one? I just walked in and it was paid for me. I didn't wonder of like who, what, when, where, how. A stranger saw me and my son and gave us points, and then another one did too. To the point where we spent nothing. Law of assumption. I just walk out the house and it's going to work. If I am in this human experience, it better work out for me. The human experience is the lowest one. The universe conspires in my favor because I make just the joke. I don't know if anyone else agrees to. It's just like, why am I here? Not why am I here, but I'm sorry. The human experience is the lowest one. There's a term called dusty. The human experience is the dustiest one, but here we are. We're going to make it very defined. Why? And by that, I mean, it's like duality. You know, by that, I'm just joking of like, oh, we got to like experience God through pain and all these other things too. The 4th dimensional consciousness. Let's just jump to the 5th. Take heed. Hello, Marlon. I'm sending you so much love. Yes, exactly. Intention behind the actions, everything. Logic, then emotion and physical body has to catch up. Yes, exactly. Right. And that's, I don't know if that's answering the DNA ascension symptoms question. When you go through that awakening, right? Logic has to catch up of like, whoa, this just happened. The body sometimes has to catch up to the higher vibration. You rose in vibration, you did this and that. Yeah. And then you had parasites or this or that. And now this is happening. You know, where sometimes our ascension symptoms, the good symptoms, you know, it may appear in different ways. I know for me, sometimes when I purge, and everybody knows this who watches me for 5 years, it's not a secret that I'm tiny. And so if I purge, my purging, like I look very tiny. If I even just purge a little bit, it doesn't mean that I'm sick. I'm purging. It's just how my body works. You know, and so sometimes it's like our bodies actually like purging out, right? Like sometimes even things like acne, like, you know, etc. All the oils are coming out. So it could be light or shadow, either one. All right, so let's just see though for the law of co-creation, not law of co-creation, law of mentalism and co-creation. What do we have for these co-creators? Why cornucopia? Why do we have cornucopia for all of the co-creators out there? Cloak of wisdom. Why cornucopia? I like this reading. And this reading is actually matching, resonating, aligning with a lot of the comments that we have here in the chat. We had a lot of comments in the chat today of like, well, you know, life is kind of pissing me off right now. Life is not easy right now, but I am grateful for what I have. And that's where it starts. Cloak of wisdom. You already know the answer you seek. I know I am that I am. It's also the law of assumption, right? I don't have this in my hand right now. I assume it's going to come, and it is going to come. And again, that the law of mentalism comes first before the law of assumption. That's a thought in itself, right? Ah, yes, the law of mentalism, the great Om Shiva Namaha. And that is Shiva. Shiva is the law of mentalism. Transcendence. Rise up, honor your inner force. Steps are being given. Dance with the universe. And that is Shiva. Shiva, right? The Om, the creation of the universe. And so it is really stepping into the Om. It is detaching, and not even like detaching, it's coming into the nothingness, not identifying. I think that's a good way rather to word it. You're not identifying, say, with the lack without of you. Say you're not happy with your life right now. You know, it says feeling sad, lonely, or insecure is all part of a soul's growth. But you know that this is coming in. It's just not here right now. When you're in the in-between, so when you're waiting for the new life, the manifestations, and they're not quite here yet, I'm just not identifying with this. You know, I'm not taking it as an I am statement, right? Say you are wanting to attract just more abundance in your life, and you don't want to identify with the lack anymore. It's not to say that it's not happening and it's not here and it's not real. This is not my truth. I'm not identifying with this. Like, I'm not, you know, like, yes, I may be going through these motions, but I am no longer identifying with this. This is no longer a belief that I am attaching to in my reality. Over time, things will change. And that is how it changes, first in the mind. And that's why sometimes, you know, people who do a lot of, like, say, ritual and things like that, it also takes your aligned actions, you know? And so, like, that's why nobody can, you know, you can't pay someone to do something for you and then you never change. And then you're wondering why, you know, maybe the candle worked for you for 2 weeks, for a month. And then life goes right back to the way it was, because it requires a true change inside. And when you're working, again, from the inside, and you're, you know, coupling it with, say, ritual, things like that, manifestation tools and techniques, there goes the magic. And the magic happens faster, sooner, more consistently, right? Where life is just magic. And so how do we change our lives when our lives, you know, again, the mirror reflection of your life, there's just something that you don't quite enjoy. You know, again, it's to be grateful for what you have while not identifying with it as your truth. You know, I'm experiencing lack right now, and I think that's the really good way to word it. The law of mentalism, right? I'm experiencing lack right now, but I'm not identifying lack as my truth. The law of mentalism, we speak of the fourth dimension. Fourth dimension, the transition into fifth dimensional consciousness. Fourth dimensional consciousness is experiencing God through duality. And so, yeah, I'm experiencing duality right now. And so that means that I'm experiencing God through this, say, shadow. I'm not identifying with the shadow, though. This is my truth. But I will observe this, and I will be very present in it, right? You could be present without attaching to anything, while being in the void, the nothingness, right? That surrender to what is. And sometimes that's how things change, by simply surrendering to what's present and not identifying with it. And I will say that that's how I avoid a lot of spiritual attacks and negative energy. I've had people ask me of just like, but how, Jocelyn? How do you avoid all these negative? Vasuki is one of them, where I love us, the Nagas, you know, and more of not identifying with fear, you know. So maybe for someone out there, how do we not allow those negative entities to get to us? Everything is consciousness, law of mentalism. Even the bad, negative deities are consciousness. It has to do with the fear. Our subconscious, our unconscious. So when it comes to like negative, bad, evil entities, I will say that I don't really deal with negative entities too much at all. It doesn't happen often, but it's because I don't identify. They don't scare me. Jaimak Kalima, a lot of other things too, but I'm at the point in my journey where there's no entity that scares me. You could even talk about the devil card. That does not scare me. I don't identify with that in the way that it's showing up. Duality, right? I don't identify with it. And then it doesn't touch me. And then I've seen situations where those same energies, people are like, get scared, and then it goes into their energetic field. Why didn't it touch me? I'm choosing not to identify with it. I don't even see you as dark or scary or anything. You're just there. And I'm just going to be Shiva, and I'm just going to sit here. But it doesn't touch you, And so, for some of you, what's coming through is, how do you get your cornucopia? There's a strategy. How do you get that abundance? How do you receive your soul-aligned life, a soul destiny, a dream life, heaven on earth, whatever this is for you, while experiencing a life that you're not quite happy with? And that's the truth right there, right? And that's where I think that some people online and online spirituality get stuck, even when it comes to coaches, where you can't shame yourself into a new life. Of like, but my life is terrible, this and that, and even like from just either perspective, no one can be shamed, and I mean, if you get enough reflections, you change, right? But you can't shame yourself into a new life or even guilt yourself into it. So let's see what this is. I do love that this reading is resonating with a lot of the comments here in the reading of basically of like, well, when life's got you like, oh, I'm grateful for my life, but I really do want a higher one. That's the truth, though. At least we named the truth, and that's where we start of creating a new life. What's the strategy to creating a new life? What is the strategy for the chosen ones out there, the ancient souls, the spiritual besties out there? What is the strategy for creating a soul-aligned reality? I like that. I like that actually a lot. Because we got the Magician card at the end, which is the co-creator card. I like that. Now we do have the Emperor that wanted to come out. For the chosen ones out there creating their own reality. The law of mentalism, I love that. And it is the Om. Om Shiva is the law of mentalism. So I like that he's out here. What is the strategy for creating their heaven on earth? What is the strategy to see where you are stuck? And again, look at here. I have the power to change my circumstances. 8 of Swords here. For the chosen ones, what do we have? For all of the co-creators out there on, what is the strategy to creating a soul-aligned reality? Why the Page of Wands here? Why the Magician card for creating a soul-aligned reality? And why the 8 of Swords for creating a soul-aligned reality? Yeah? The mind, the law of mentalism. Sometimes I'm even shocked too, where I'm just like, oh wow, the reading was like on point. Where I'm just like, wow, we're really saying it and all of it's coming out. Shiva, law of mentalism, all of it. Look at that judgment. I know my destiny. Where you are your own judgment. Ace of Swords, the truth. Where other universal laws, yes. At the end of the day, never allow anyone to call judgment upon you. Ace of Swords. Judgment, Ace of Swords. And sometimes, again, when it comes to like creating a new life, it is making that decision, or at least I'll say what I have done in the past, where I'm like, you know what, today is the day that I'm not accepting this life I'm currently living, and that's it. I'm pulling the sword on myself. Where I am not living this life anymore. It's going to change. But, again, it's admitting that it requires some of our work, maybe some manifestation too, but it requires our work. Page of Wands, the 8 of Wands. This is you calling things into your reality, the Page of Wands. 8 of Wands is all of the things that you need. Community, support, people, abundance into your reality. Page of Wands over here. Again, this is the reading for the co-creators out there. How do we step into this role of co-creator? The Magician card. This is the co-creator card. I have the ability to create my own reality. And it really is believing that no matter how hard the outer reflection is of like, well, that person's keeping my money, or I have to work this amount of hours, or this or that. Starting off small. Starting off in the little ways that you can change things in your reality. If we're to look at our whole life and think of all the things that need to change, it's a lot. And then I see people get stuck in the nervous system response of freeze or fight or flight. Where it's like, whoa, I need to change my love life, my money, my everything. And then people just get frozen, right? It's calling back your power of, I have the ability to bring harmony into my life. It's my birthright. Judgment. I create harmony. Temperance card. I am confident. I create my own reality. And so what are the first steps? It's always going to be the law of mentalism. If it's not in the mind, it's not going to be anywhere else either. And that's where I see, of like being honest, that say these spiritual sessions and techniques, it's just popular now. It's been going on forever, but I remember once there was someone of like, yeah, but I don't know if it worked because like they only waited one day after our session, just one day. They're like, it didn't work. I'm like, it's just been one day. You just went to, we just met last night. We just woke up, where are you determining that? 144, as I say that, it's all in the mind. And so if you do your, I don't know, if you light a candle, if you think something's not going to work, you just told the universe that. And so that's your belief. You have the power to make a difference in your world, to make a change in your world. But I'm saying that because the law of mentalism also works in spiritual sessions. If you are going into spiritual sessions and you don't believe what's being done on you, because I've seen people do that so much. I'm like, well, why would you spend $300 if you didn't believe in it in the first place? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of $300 and you didn't believe in it? You just wanted to like test and see? The law of mentalism, you proved your own thought or belief right. I don't know if spirituality is real, but I'm going to do this anyway. Well, you just, you didn't believe it was real or have doubts about it. The law of mentalism, where belief is the core primary foundation of just anything, right? Before you take any action, you thought about it first. Now, at the end of the reading here, we have 9 of Cups, the 8 of Swords, the 3 of Wands, and this is saying, I have the power to change my circumstances. And just from, like, say, a psychology perspective, this goes into of like, oh, wow, there's so many things in my life that are stressing me out that I need to change, that my nervous system is going into freeze or fight or flight. And that's what happens a lot with people. That's what's happened in my own life years ago, where I'm just like, whoa, I'm all by myself and there's a lot of things I need to change. Where is it coming from? Who, what, where, when, how? And so it's moving past that, right? And again, say if you're someone who's watching me that you just want to change your whole life, the little things to change here and there first, right? So like say first you're focusing on wealth and prosperity, and then love and romance, and then like always start with yourself, but etc. 3 of Wands, expanding. And so that's what Spirit is saying here, of like, you actually have way more that's available to you, and I think it can be hard to even accept that actually you can be blessed by known and unknown sources. Actually, yeah, law of assumption, where actually I just assume that it's going to happen no matter what. And then it really does. Again, that example of me walking into the laser tag. And I was just intuitively led to take my son to laser tag. I walk out the house, we get there, and literally everything is handed to us there. We didn't spend a penny last night. It's just handed to us and handed to us from people we don't know. And life really can work like that. Your life really can work like that. But it's in itself, again, like being open to, there are actually infinite known and unknown sources that can help me, that have wisdom for me, right? Say you're praying for wisdom. You don't know how you're going to get it. You're wishing that you had some sort of guru or coach. It actually ends up coming from that person that stands outside the gas station that said exactly what you needed to hear. So the universe is always actually given to us from known and unknown sources. It's just being open to the abundance and all the different ways that it manifests. Sometimes people manifest and they're looking for money. Like for example, that's something I wrote down in my gratitude journal yesterday. No one handed me anything. as far as like physical money, everything was paid for. That my son got 200 points. There was even like, we even got appetizer, you know, where everything was paid for. And that is wealth. That is abundant. It's not just like to think that the universe just wants to bless you through physical money. That in itself is lack, you know, where it's through that person that has extra food, through the love it is that that person gave you. Or for example, I gave that random person a $5 Dunkin' Donuts gift card because I didn't like the way she was being treated in front of me. I didn't like that. That person was being mean to a worker at Walmart. I'm like, it's holiday season and this person gets this all day, every day. And it's not even a livable wage these days. I'm going to give her a gift card because don't do that to people. Why the Nine of Cups, the Eight of Swords, and the Three of Wands here for the co-creators? Because you've got the power. You've got the sword. You've got the power over here. All right. Ace of Wands over here. You've got the power. It's your ashe. It's your life force energy. Again, your inner gold, right? Your life force energy, your sekam, your chi. Your inner gold is what I call it because it's gold energy. And it's your ashe as well. Ashe is that too. It's infinite. And so, you know, and it is kind of like training your mind. That's mystery school. Mystery school is where they would train the mind. And really it's the ancient Tenemos mind. But when we come into the universal mind, there's no fears of how something's going to happen. There's even no fears of like, but how is it going to magically manifest? It's just going to happen. Law of assumption. I assume, and I just know it's going to happen. And then that's where and I do have the quote that it's not delusional if you can actually materialize it. You know, people could think you're as delusional as they want to think. If you have the proof of physically manifesting things, you're not delusional. And it requires it. Again, it requires you to believe in something you don't see. And that's where like the law of mentalism, you know, again, be grounded in your reality. You know, like, again, I don't believe anyone's delusional, no matter what, you know, who they are, if they can ground it, if they can anchor it and manifest it. And it's sometimes believing in something that you see that somebody else doesn't see, right? And there goes the law of mentalism there. Someone will tell you that's not for you. Actually, it's in my Akashic records. It's written in my soul destiny, quite literally everywhere. It's just not here yet. And so I'm just going to ignore that, right? And you keep going. But yeah, everything starts in the mind. The mind is so magical. And how are the people of today enslaved is the mind. If they can control your mind to think certain things, to think for other companies, for other things, for other that's not think for yourself. That is how we become a slave to systems, to industries, to society, to dogma, religion, right? All these different things. I'm going to read some of the comments. Today, hello, it's Omaris. I know you're in the Patreon too, so welcome over here. Today we're doing the law of mentalism. So we're talking about just how powerful the mind is. If we want to manifest or do anything, it always starts in the mind. It always starts in the mind, and the mind aligns with our outer actions, right? So it's like, say you're wanting to, again, like increase abundance in your life. It's in your mind, but we take the actions, right? So it's not even just the rituals, the scripting. Start acting like it. Start assuming that it's already on the way. Law of assumption. Start treating your reality as if you're living in that truth, you know, etc. And then we're doing a reading as well. I love Jesus. Jesus loves me. You're right. Thank you. I love Jesus. You know what's so funny? I was having like this, a download from Hades, and Jesus comes in. Rather like a license plate that says Jesus at the same moment that like the download was coming through. I was like, yeah, they work together. I say the same thing about accepting compliments. Yeah, if you have, yes, exactly. And that's why, like, I do say, like, I'm so thankful, but if you see, I don't comment, and it's not me being rude. If you ever, like, compliment me in a positive way on my videos, it's not that I'm being rude of not saying anything back. Spirit has always led me to not feed those things. So it's also like not to, like I believe it, law, whatever, the law of, whatever, the mind and all that stuff, law of mentalism, but not to feed just that, because then that's when someone gets like imbalanced, right? Or like in the ego, and so, yeah, just balance. Is that what Jesus is going to do for me? If you take the good, you will take the bad. Yes, you take the bad. So I am for constructive criticism. Exactly, from a pure place. Yes, constructive criticism from a pure place. There's people who are, I don't know why I think of Virgos. Sorry. I mean, maybe it's because of all my Pisces. I do have Virgo on my birth chart, though. Me and my inner Virgo are great friends now. But there's sometimes people are like constructive criticism, blah, blah, blah. No, like you're just being extremely rude. And that actually wasn't constructive at all. That was an absolute opinion. I believe in helping people, not from an ego place. And so if I'm going to help someone, I'm also not going to do it in public. I'm not going to help them publicly. I'm going to go into their DM and say like, hey, I have some constructive criticism for you. But say if I, as like anyone online, were to go to anyone else online and use my public, platform to constructively criticize, to me, that's ego. If I actually cared about that person, if I actually wanted them to change, I would say it to their face. I would kind of, and by that I mean like, you go in their DM, you let someone know constructive criticism. I've actually done that before too, where I'll never do anything publicly, but like that can come from like ego. If you want to help someone, truly help them, without any validation, anyone seeing, or anything like that. Now we can do, let's see. We're going to finish off this reading here too. So what this reading is saying is, I've got the power. Yeah. What's that song? That's what this reading is saying. You've got the power. Again, I love how this reading also really aligned with a lot of the comments. And that's how you know too, again, whenever you like, and that part is not like the cheesy of like, share, subscribe, and all those things. It does help to pick up on things. When you're commenting on things, when you're following or this or that, it helps to pick up on the energy. All right, so we'll get some advice for all the co-creators out there. That we're going to be doing a reading for Tuki 171. How to best take advantage of the things that are in their immediate future. And yes, you can, Isomaris. Yes, you can too. I'm seeing yours now too. So we're going to be doing some mini readings. I'm from the equal people stepping into my awakening. Yeah, we got 3 readings over here. So feel free if you would like a mini reading. We'll close this one out. All the co-creators, listen, Linda, listen. You've got the power. Doesn't matter. Look at that. 8 of Pentacles, mastery. But most of the time it's of the mind. It's getting through the guilt and the shame and all those different emotions, right? The healing that comes with it of like, oh, well, that person has all that, or this or that, or it's never going to happen for me, or don't think any of those. Like start throwing those law of mentalism, law of assumption. No, I am that I am. I don't care. If I have $2 in my pocket, law of assumption, it's going to work out for me. And especially when, I know a lot of Pisces watch me, especially when you're Pisces, I will say, Pisces, law of assumption, it actually really works in your favor. When a Pisces becomes friends with that inner Virgo, oh, that is a great white shark. A great white shark. And again, like Pisces, you're known as the 12th house, the house of dreams and delusions. Pisces energy, you are more connected to what is true in the unseen realm. So it's not delusional. You are more connected to those unseen realms. You see more than they see. So it's not that it's not true. It's not that you're delusional. It's just birthing it, actually manifesting it in your reality. Pisces, you are actually magic manifestors. For any, look up where you have Pisces in your chart, because that can be a way to be successfully delusional. Successfully. It's like checking out where you have Pisces in your chart and then working with that. All right. Now, what's the advice for the co-creators for creating their heaven on earth? What is the advice for the co-creators? You know, I see you, yeah, being open to new possibilities. Being open to new possibilities. The people, the quality, right? Maybe to you, whatever that may mean to you, quality. And I like to use the word alignment. It's not that it's bad quality, right? Maybe like not aligned. Page of Pentacles, the Lover's card, Five of Pentacles, opening the door to new opportunities. I am open to experiencing higher levels of wealth. It feels safe for me to receive this. I am open and I feel safe receiving larger amounts of wealth or wealth in different ways that I previously experienced wealth. And so part of it, again, it's like making yourself believe. And again, it's not delusional. Like a lot of it's just deep healing. You know, there's a difference between deep healing, you know, and like delusional. Actually, you always deserve the best. You deserved, you know, everyone deserves their birthright, which to some people, a lot of people have been working so hard for what's their birthright. The bare minimum of respect, of having food and resources, a home, you know, all these different things. This is, say, bare minimum or your birthright. And so part of it is just reconfiguring, reprogramming the brain to, why did I ever feel guilty about the bare minimum, you know, of what I deserve as a human in this realm, you know. Co-creators, maybe another piece of, or tip, goddess tip, or some goddess juice of advice is, I reincarnated here as a chosen one as 144K. All of my needs have to be provided for. I am a chosen one of God. I work for God. All of my needs have to be provided. God needs me. Right? It's like coming into the energy of like, no, the collective need. Like I'm here, you know, to be of service, right? To live in my soul mission, my soul purpose. I'm awake and I am aware. Therefore, the bare minimum is like my birthright. 777 as I say that. An elf, Santa just texted me. See, that's the universe. The universe wants to bless you. For Santa Claus. It is Santa Claus though, I'm serious. Hello, Elf Sprinkles just popped in. Santa can't stop talking about your call. Oh, okay, I have to tell the truth. My son called Santa and left him a message. There we go. Just confirmation though, right? And that's, think of it like God, right? 777, the universe. Say God is Santa, right? And that really is, not, it's actually not what God is at all. But let's just, for saying it. The universe always wants to give you more. The universe does not know limitation. Only you do. The universe actually doesn't know that, you know, maybe you've been in survival mode, you know, or need this, this, and that. You know, the universe doesn't know less or higher than, etc. All right, so let's get into the reading. Five of Pentacles. I open the door to new possibilities with wealth and even relationships. Be open to more. Be open to higher. Again, it's the law of mentalism with a little bit of like, you know, dash in a little bit of the law of assumption. You know, I believe and I know that there's a higher, say, quality of life, of love, of abundance available to me, and it's out there. And so I am expecting to receive that, and I'm only going to receive that. All right. And that is how one can apply the law of mentalism and even the law of assumption to create their own reality. I can't make that up. Let's see. Oh, there goes Venus. As we're speaking of Venus, there we go. All right, so we're going to be getting in some readings today. We do have 3 readings for mini readings. If anyone would like a reading, feel free to Cash App or PayPal Goddess Energy 444. You can also Zelle the email, let's go home, and it's 4 7s, not 3 7s, 7777 at gmail.com. All right, so let's get into these messages. I am just going to take a look at the comments. We haven't seen the comments. Just resting. And I like that you wrote that. It's difficult to control your own beliefs. Yeah, it takes scientifically 2 years to believe yourself. So on a scientific level, it's been proven through studies, the affirmations, right? And that's why it's not just the affirmations. It starts with the law of mentalism. But we need so much more than just telling ourselves that. Because then you'll find yourself telling yourself for 2 years, I am abundant. I am abundant. And then, it's like, say a year later, then you start to feel those emotions of like frustration or even shame or guilt about yourself that you're not doing it right or this or that, yeah, that it takes, so much more than just the affirmations. And if we were just doing affirmations, it can, take up to 2 years to believe that, to see the change. Hadn't dreamed in 25 years. Would we say it the same in transition from this world? Are you single? I'm in a divine partnership with God. He loves me so much. He's so good to me. I was going to say, I want to tell the whole world about him. There is no evidence of a spirit or soul. There is lots of evidence, sir, ma'am. I don't know. I used to find solace. I'm reading the comments because I didn't get to see the comments for a little bit. We're going to be doing the mini readings. Feel free to send for the mini readings. I like that. You perceive a nightmare, but you haven't figured out how to interpret the message. I like that. I like that. It's true. And that's why I say to be very mindful about the astral realm. When you go into the astral realm and you see a scary monster, it might not be a scary monster. And that is the truth. But people have to be ready in the mind, right? To know that there's a realm where duality doesn't exist. And I was tested with that in a shamanic ceremony once. I did the strongest psychedelic in the world. The strongest one that exists. I've done it a few times, actually. Always with a shaman. I'm not one that tries to, let me create my own ceremony in this. No, it was in a controlled setting with a shaman in a controlled environment. And in one of those, I kept seeing, in one of like these ceremonies, I kept being shown like very scary, what you would almost call like demonic type of images, like black, red, this, that. And like I could feel my heart race. I had already done a few ceremonies already. So after maybe 30 seconds of like, oh gosh, like, is this going to be a dark trip? Is this going to be a dark ceremony and experience? Oh. And then it hits my mind, wait a second. You're not real. And then as soon as I got that thought, it changed into an all white goddess, like a feminine figure that was flowy like this. She was bright white light. And she said, and then changed back into something scary. And that was my shamanic ceremony or trip for that medicine, was she kept playing tricks on me. This beautiful white, like light goddess was flowing like this and dancing for me. And she would laugh just like that whenever I got it right, where I was like, oh God, and the trip, where I'm like, oh, it's getting kind of scary again. Oh no, is it going to be a dark one? And then I'm like, wait a second. No, because there's no such thing. There's no duality. And as soon as my mind went there, all the dark imagery changed to a bright white goddess dancing again. She was like, and then towards the end of the ceremony, I finally got it where she stopped tricking me. She kept like doing all this dark stuff and showing herself as dark. I'm like, there's no such thing. Everything's dual. Like, there's no duality. You're looking at me dark and like fangs and stuff, but you can't touch me. It's just God and another reflection. And then like she just ended up dancing the whole rest of the time, and it was like bright colors. But I say that just to give an example of, yes, like when it comes to even things like nightmares, sometimes we'll think of like, oh my God, that's scary. We got to run. What is it teaching you? What is it teaching you? Or what message did it really have to say behind what we perceived as like scary, right? But yeah, that one shamanic ceremony, look at that truth. That one shamanic ceremony taught me a lot about, what is it called? The dot test? The Rosh something dot test. How are you perceiving your reality, right? What's evil or even scary to one person, Kalima to some people. I got kicked out of a hotel for Kalima. And a car, where they saw my Kalima stuff and they're like, you gotta go. And, I'm not going to be funny. I'm such a Pisces, right? Oh, I'm not going to be mean and argue with them. They're kicking me out. Pisces. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be mean and just like fight back with them. I'm just like, whatever. How are you going to argue with that, Yes, Neptune, knowledge, astrology, an admission to yourself to take aligned action. Yeah, sometimes we have to admit things to ourselves of like, oh, this is not aligned. That routine that I'm living, it's not aligned right now. Or like truth is, I'm really not happy with the way that things are, and that's the only way that things change. Let's see. Okay, let's get to these questions. The first question here from Tuki171. Can you tell me how to best take advantage of the things that are in my immediate future? All right, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Holy Spirit of Light, Holy Spirit of God. Maybe for some of you too, when I do readings, and maybe for those of you that do readings, I do imagine, like I work with the diamond pillar, the two pillars of light, three, that I work with the most are blue, diamond, and gold, like rays of light. So I usually imagine, I always root and ground before I even start the reading. Before I even come on camera, I say a prayer that says, I remove my own energy, and then I remove my ego. And let's give the most clear message it is that we can, or the highest message that we can today. And I imagine a pillar of light surrounding me. So something told me to maybe mention that too. For anyone else who's doing readings, what do we have for Tuki171 on how can Tuki171 best take advantage of the things in their immediate future? How can Tuke171 best take advantage of the things, of the blessings that are in their immediate future? How can Tuki171 best take advantage of the things in their immediate future? Why the Two of Wands for how Tuke171 can best take advantage of the things in their immediate future? Why the Sun card? Having hope, faith, and trust. Even say when it comes to things that you can't, like I'm seeing duality here where I do see blessings in the form of people. Why Knight of Swords here? Yeah, Queen of Swords. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy. Okay, and then the Emperor, I'm in control, and the Three of Pentacles. So it feels like there's some work that's coming in for you. What Spirit is saying is, how can you best take advantage? One, be mindful of like your relationships and just who you give your energy to, making sure that it's reciprocal, because that's what I'm seeing too, is a focus on relationships. Why the Lovers with the Two of Wands? Why the Lovers with the Two of Wands? Yeah, what Spirit is saying is, how do you best take advantage of these things coming in your future? Making sure that people around you are peaceful or at least support you, and that's what I'm seeing here too. There's an importance just of the people around you. Say there's big blessings coming in. You would want people around you who support you, who are healthy, who are aligned with you. So there's a message there. We do have the Magician card, Eight of Swords, and the Sun card. What Spirit is saying is having a little bit more hope. Even when, say, it's been a while since something came in, or there's those doubts that start to come up. What I'm seeing, again, Eight of Swords and the Magician card, I have the power to change my circumstances, and I am confident over here. This next level, or these next blessings in your life that are coming in your immediate future, they're going to ask for a new version of you. I'm seeing you being confident, releasing, just like say if there's a little bit of imposter syndrome, releasing the imposter syndrome, having hope, faith, and trust. And what I do see though is it's being logical of like getting things done, crossing T's, dotting I's. There's a level of releasing control here, but there is a level of maintaining control. So I don't know too, like say if you have your own business, if it's in the work it is that you do, because we have the Emperor with the Three of Pentacles, collaboration brings shared success. There's some energy here that maybe you work with other people and that the discipline is necessary. Like there's a masculine energy that's necessary for what you do. So there's just yeah, what Spirit is saying is these blessings coming in your immediate future. Be confident, know who you are, know that you deserve them before that they already come in. Spirit's saying here to actually take up a little bit of space too. Take up space, get used to taking up space. But also, I do see it necessary to hold your sword, to have those loving boundaries, especially say if you work with other people or lead a group of people. I'm seeing that it's necessary. And that you might be someone who actually takes control of things or is a leader. All right, now, why the Emperor with the Three of Pentacles for Took 171? Yeah, Eight of Wands. I'm seeing like calling shots or making things happen, you know, or yeah, it's like dealing with a lot of things, a lot of money, a lot of people. There's something along the lines of dealing with a surplus amount of something, that it's going to require the boundaries and the control to a certain sense. And what's the overall advice for Took 171 on best taking advantage of the opportunities? It's interesting, there is that message here of giving and receiving in balance. And so that's just what Spirit is saying. So just confirmation from the relationships personally in your life, as well as maybe even in your work. The Wheel of Fortune, I am flexible. So the wheel's turning for you. It is turning for you as you give and receive in balance. You know, and what Spirit's saying also is to be open to some sort of, there's definitely blessings coming into your life. Be open to them. Know that you deserve them, and kind of like taking up space. Like being okay with taking up some space. You know, being okay of being rewarded, being complimented. And that's kind of what this reading is saying. Closing off with the Temperance card of peace and harmony and balance. It's like Spirit saying, like, you know, those people that have a hard time taking compliments, of being open to, like, accepting that, right? Of, like, knowing who you are, being who you are, and taking up that space. You're not a villain to take up the space. All right? Someone said thank you as soon as I say that, okay? You are not a villain to take up the space that you do, if you do. And knowing that you do, you take up space. You have so much worth and value in your personal relationships, but I'm also seeing in your workplace too, or whatever you do for work. We're going to do Edward Bickerstaff. Is it Edward Bickerstaff, 7148, and then Isomars, our Venusian sister. All right, Edward Bickerstaff, 7148. And if anyone else would like a mini reading, feel free to send it to Cash App. It's $10, Cash App Goddess Energy 444, or you could PayPal it, or you could Zelle it. Any donation is also accepted above that $10. Thank you for those who donate. I appreciate you. Giving and receiving in balance. We gave a $75 gift card to a Soul Tribe member too for the holidays for Thanksgiving. So I appreciate all of you so much. I had a karmic trigger, my awakening, November 16th, from the Igbo people and stepping into my awakening. Let's see what this is for Edward Bickerstaff, 7148. I had a karmic trigger, my awakening, November 6th. Let's see, we'll get some messages for you. For Edward Bickerstaff, 7148. For Edward Bickerstaff, 7148, what do we have on this karmic energy that triggered their awakening November 6th? What do we have for Edward Bickerstaff? Yeah, that was like a Two of Wands. It's like an initiating kind of energy. For Edward Bickerstaff, 7148, what do we have on this karmic trigger awakening November 6th? What do we have for Edward Bickerstaff for this karmic trigger awakening November 6th? It brings you into success, though. Interesting. Yeah, it brings you into your goals, actually. Yeah, there you go, the Devil card. That's what I was going to say. There was something that you identified with, though. With this karmic trigger, like the karmic person, right? There was something about them that, so like I'm seeing their shadow. Look at that, the Devil card. I accept my shadow self. Looking into the mirror of that karmic person, there was some old part of you that identified with that, is what Spirit is saying. And it was almost like a way to kind of trigger and shock that part of you. And it may have been old and very suppressed. You know, like say, like you go nowhere near the color red, right? It's like, oh, I used to love the color red. I go nowhere near the color red. I would never come across the color red. Oh, the color red came hiding in the color black, you know, but only because there was something left from like that old part of you that identified with the color red, where you left it completely. You don't really like, oh, I don't mess with that karmic stuff, that karmic color red. So the color red came dressed up as black. And that's like what this reading is saying is there was like some little part that it's like, oh, I remember that, like in a part of you. And by going through that, you were able to like fully release that part of you that may have been very suppressed, forgotten about, whatever it may be. And you come into the world card here of success. For Edward Bickerstaff, 7148, this karmic trigger of their awakening, November 6th. Why the Page of Wands here? Yeah, the Devil card over here. Something's coming through that it could have been tricky of how you even got into the situation. Like it may have, like I had just described, where it may have been kind of tricky of how you got into the situation. It could have been karmic fate, especially like November 6th is still it is retrograde season, but also eclipse season is what I meant. And so eclipse season is very much karmic fate. What do we have for the Two of Wands for Edward Bickerstaff, 7148? What do we have for the Two of Wands? Yeah, it's like a crossroads of you. Why the King of Cups with this Two of Wands here for Edward Bickerstaff? I would say call back your energy, though, from that situation of that trigger awakening. Call back your energy. Why Ace of Wands in reverse? Oh, and sometimes it happens that way. This feels like it could have gotten dark. The karmic trigger for my awakening, you're from the Igbo people. You know, so also like your lineage just has certain gifts, right? And remembrances and powers too. They try to take something like your power in some way, shape, or form. And I don't usually read things like that, but definitely karmic trigger sometimes is the spiritual attack. And that's the karmic trigger in itself, is the spiritual attack. Sometimes, you know, it's like that spiritual attack that comes in, you know, and how do we clear that? Sometimes we have a soul contract with certain entities, you know, or spiritual attacks, where it was actually karmic fate for the spiritual attack to happen, but for you to reclaim your power. I know a lot of people that have been through that. Even I've been through that too. And I see you reclaiming your power, having some sort of awakening, maybe even awakening those ancestors of yours too. Why the World card here for Edward Bickerstaff, 7148? Yeah, and I see you moving past it. You know, I see you reflecting. Four of Cups. Four of Cups is an energy of reflection, sometimes of regret, you know, of, I just see you wanting to really unidentify with whatever that was. You know, with the Three of Wands, I see you moving away from it and expanding symbolically, maybe even physically too, and stepping into your new cycle. What is the advice for Edward Bickerstaff, 7148? What is the advice? Yeah, awakening over here. We have the Hangman that fell out. Why Edward Bickerstaff? Why the Hangman, rather, for advice for Edward Bickerstaff? Ooh, yeah, we have the Hierophant over here. Was it a Taurus? And definitely some sort of soul contract, though. And it says, I learn from my losses. It says, I accept guidance, the Hierophant. We do have the Hangman over here as well. All right, so what Spirit is saying here is like this was meant to completely shift direction for you, to shift also your perspective. It feels like there was some sort of loss from this karmic trigger and awakening, but it ultimately is what brings you into some sort of success. Okay, I'll split the deck. Yeah, Eight of Swords. Judgment card, I know my destiny, Queen of Wands. What came in to trap you, to stop you, was the wisdom granted to move forward. And that's what I see here for you. All right. We're going to be getting into the reading for Isomaras. Okay, I'm going to look for her question here. It's so difficult to control your own beliefs. Let's see. Thank you, Marlon, for telling people to be nice in the comments. Oh, we saw these comments. Let's see. Where is Isomara's? I'm looking for Isomara's comment. We're going to be doing her reading, our Venusian goddess. I'm looking at the other readings too. I mean, the other comments too. I actually don't really watch readings. They're not trying to change people. They try to change me. Hi, Took. I hope that the reading resonated. Yes, you can go to Patreon Blue Rose Mystery School. Now today's Monday. So Monday, you always get a reading on Patreon. So channel members, all of your readings go to Patreon first. Patreon gets the channel members video today. It uploads on Tuesday. Patreon, you're also going to get a bonus reading. You usually get a astrology update for the upcoming week too. Patreon, you have access to all workshops, to all events. And so the online event happening December 29th, you get in for free too. The membership is either $777 or $33.33. $33.33 is my ancient grimoire, where I just give truly like all the mystery school details, like the things that have happened, the things that you need to be initiated for. I drop it in the $33 tier. We talk about ritual in depth, basically anything, any pearls. I like the way that that's worded. Any pearls that I cannot give publicly, I give it to the Patreon. You don't give your pearls to swine. So it only goes to Patreon now, but feel free to join. It's Blue Rose Mystery School. It's also in the description box of all the videos. Mystery School community, for those of you who just want to share, who want to be who you are, wave your esoteric flag, wave your high priest or priestess flag, whoever you are, whatever lineage you're from, you are welcome. It's weird you just mentioned Pisces as I come across you. Hello, love. How are you? Yes, I read mostly for Pisces. Juice World. Rest in peace, Juice World. Took, yes. Yes, be delusional. And then manifest it. It's not delusional if we could manifest it. No, 7 is a good number. 7's a number of mastery, perfection. Don't get me started. Me and another person saw Santa in the real. You saw Santa go into a chimney as I'm looking at my neighbor's chimney. Oh my goodness. I never believed in Santa. I was too smart. At the age of 3, I saw, at the time I was a parent pretending to be Santa. They had our laundry bag. And then back then, a 3-year-old, I'm thinking Santa looks like, the jolly Santa that's in the pictures. This Santa, his skin color did not match the other Santa. And that's me at 3 years old. I was just like, 1, you don't look like Santa at all. Santa does not look like that in the movies. 2, that's our laundry bag. And so it didn't work. By the age of 3, I was already too observant. Pisces energy, 12th house energy of Santa is not using our laundry bag. I could be a toddler and I could still call that out. Santa. Yes, there we go, Venusian goddess. I found you. Scent. Here's the question. How can you grow without letting people drain me? Yes, I can answer it through tarot. We can also answer it through, and you know what? We're going to get the charger. I don't really get up too often. You're going to see me get up today. YouTube does not, I think all YouTubers, right? For the most part, you don't see the bottom half of any person that's sitting down over here. I got to go get my charger. So we're going to grab the charger to continue the rest of the readings. Hold on one moment. All right, so we could continue these readings. And not me coming back at 144. There you go. Everything is divinely planned. There we go. There we go. Starting the conversation of how do we fill up our spiritual batteries? Because people, things, right, can drain us. So how do we fill up our spiritual batteries? Which we are going to get it in the reading for Isamaris over here. But if there's anything intuitively that comes through, I'm going to say it too. Just in general too, it's like having that boundary of knowing when it's being drained, you know? And so when, say you're having a conversation with someone, right? And I see this when it comes to people who like to like throw all of their problems on you. Like, you know, those people that call you because they know you'll listen to them, that kind of thing. Say conversations that just are not meaningless and not pointless. We have 3 of Wands over here, so expansion. I'm going to keep that there. Not meaningless or pointless, you know, but just don't really serve any value or hold any weight. You know, like for example, politics is one that we're not getting into that. I'm not draining my energy with that conversation, you know, or this or that. So let's see, for Isamaris specifically, for our Venusian goddess, Isamaris, how can Isamaris grow without letting people drain her? How can Isamaris grow? Giving and receiving in balance. There we go. The same message came out actually. Wheel of Fortune. I am flexible. All right. 4 of Cups. Now 4 of Cups in the regular tarot is someone who's like looking down at 3 cups and there's a 4th cup coming in. So one way to not let anyone drain you is knowing what thoughts, emotions, and feelings are your own, right? And so like say even, for example, the lack conversation, right? Of like, oh, woe is me, nothing's going to help me, blah, blah, blah. You know, if those are truly not your own, it's not bad to be around someone who is in that energy, right? Like I'm not like the conversation of like, oh, that's a low vibrational person. Just learn how to deal with low vibrations, you know? Like people are allowed to be sad or angry or this or that, but right, people who are sometimes addicted to the lower mindset, right? Like, and you know, everybody that was watching me, we all know those people or that one person in our life that just always is negative. They always have something bad to say of how nothing's ever going to work out for them or this or that. Being mindful of those people, what's fed to you, to your mind. Yeah, and so like even on social media, right? I personally, especially being on social media, I don't have personal social media. That would be too much for me. Too much coming into the mind, you know, me say here and then you have other social media. I don't have any Snapchats or just anything like that, right? And so being mindful of what you consume, but even in the conversations with other people. Queen of Cups, you know, like you are, what Spirit is saying is it might be energetically of how people try to take your energy. That you're very nurturing, nurturing emotional safe space for people. But just making sure you're getting that back too, right? We have the 7 of Cups here. I make choices with clarity. 7 of Cups is also, it could be illusions. It's also many options. So what Spirit's saying is, you know, as we're growing, what I'm seeing as I say that is you growing in light. As we're growing in light, we actually can't, you know, I want to watch the way that I word that. It's not that you can't give as much, you know, but sometimes you don't even know how much you're giving. And I like to think of this like a subscription, right? Energetically, you know, those subscriptions in our phones that we forget that are there. And then it's like 5 months and we just pay $200 to a subscription that we don't even use. There's, you know, we can see that in our own lives. In what way are we giving out energy that we don't even realize is actually leaking or draining our energy? So that's what Spirit's saying. It's like, first, like be mindful of what's being consumed. Be mindful of what's coming in energetically. Be mindful of what's going out energetically. And then 6 of Pentacles from there, giving and receiving in balance, emotionally, monetarily, physically, you know, in whatever way resonates. Why the 6 of Pentacles for how Isamaris can grow without letting people drain her?
Yeah, peace of mind, Four of Swords over here. And also knowing your energy, knowing thyself, right? That's our best protection. So when you are alone, how do you feel about yourself, about whatever? When you're around those people or just people in general, then how do you feel? Right? Four of Swords, peace of mind is my strength. And then the Chariot card, I can find balance. And so creating those energetic bubbles or light pillars are also very helpful. What's also helpful is just knowing who you are, how you feel. Um, Say you're someone that doesn't really worry about too much. Then you go around someone and then you start to feel anxiety and this and that, um, then obviously there's maybe some sort of energy that you're picking up on, etc. Now, what's the advice for Isomeris? For not allowing people to drain her, what's the advice? Walking away from what doesn't serve you. And when you have to. We have the King of Cups here. You already have the Queen of Cups, so that's Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. We have the Devil card. It says accepting shadow self. Or the Devil card, you could also see it as like karmic lessons, say people, misalignments. Eight of Cups, when it's not aligned, not arguing with it, not holding on to it, walking away from what doesn't serve you. Like say, for example, like the comments in my thing, right, where we were talking about they were calling me a horse. I'm just going to walk away with it because I don't resonate with it. I'm not going to give it any power. I'm not going to let it take any of my energy or infiltrate the thought that I have of myself. Walking away from certain things, people, and situations that don't serve you. Being very mindful, having the boundaries with what goes in, what goes out. And that's what Spirit is saying is what can be really beneficial for just not allowing people or things to drain your energy as you grow in light and in spirit. He tells us about him. Yeah. Learned very young. Oh, Took 171. I learned very young that the scary pretty. I love that. I love AI. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting stuff. What did you take? I'm assuming that's referring to the ceremony. If anyone else would like a mini reading, feel free to send to Cash App or PayPal. Goddess Energy 444. If not, we have some videos that we're uploading to Patreon, so feel free to go join us on Patreon. It's going to be Blue Rose Mystery School. The tiers are $7.77 or $33.33. For the $33 tier, you are not just giving me $33 a month. Nope, this is Mystery School. I want you to multiply that times 3 every month. I want you to do that. If it's $33 a month, we have some videos that we uploaded last week of explaining black, white, and red consciousness when it comes to the mind. So law of mentalism and ritual. Before you even start the ritual, we have to master the mind. There was a return to sender, how to do a double uncrossing without buying a double uncrossing candle, how to double uncross a candle by yourself. We did that as well. We uploaded a video of how to do a return to sender in the most sacred way possible. As one thing I have helped people with on my journey is they do return to senders and then they keep like either experiencing the same thing or getting it returned back to them. How do you do a return to sender that is actually going to do a return to sender? Because if you just say, I return to sender, that's actually not how the universe works. Where you could do a return to sender. And I will say, just go to Patreon. It's on Patreon, Blue Rose Mystery School, but a part of me wants to talk about it today. We can't send back the same energy and the same vibration. You have to do something to change the vibration. Someone sends you harm and you just say, okay, return to sender, you just sent harm. So I'll just say this, put harm to none after everything that you do, even manifesting. You could say, oh, I want $10,000. Yeah. And then and then say someone passes away, you get an inheritance. You don't want that to happen, or this or that. Or, you can't say of like, oh, I want to manifest $10,000. And then you just put it out into the universe, not being specific. And then you get it from like a car crash settlement that you were in. You don't want to do those things. So feel free to join the Patreon where we go over all of those different things. Balance has forsaken me completely. No, don't say that. Law of mentalism, law of assumption, don't say that. the outer reality in this world is bringing people out of balance. And it is asking us to come home to ourselves and to feel safe within ourselves, no matter how the world changes, because the only constant thing is change. David Gibson. Oh, that's interesting. I have done the toad 3 times. I think that's what you're asking me. Oh, that's a funny question, but I can't answer that publicly. Are you in Houston, Texas? I wish I was. Love and light to all here. Yeah, you're on the right path. I love that, Edward, that you're saying to Joanna, I believe, Gianna. I love that. I like that name. You're on the right path. You know, we find ourselves in the exact spaces that we need to be. This is against Christianity. Oh no. Some people get confused by me sometimes that I'm in religions, and there are 2 lineages that I have been initiated into, and I believe in all religions. I think religion in itself is a matrix, and it's all a way to experience God. That's it. Just like 4th dimensional consciousness is you experience God through light or dark, you experience God through Hinduism, through Buddhism, through Ifa, through Hermeticism, through all of these different ways. Some are closed, some are not. So, things like that. But I believe that all religions is just a way to experience God. And I think it's so silly for us to argue with one another of these belief systems. I personally, yes, I'm like initiated high priestess, but I come from an objective perspective. I would be very silly to be like, hi, I'm an initiated rose priestess, or I'm initiated that priestess, and all of you come, I don't know, and join my whatever the heck. No, we're not going to do that. Where we are all here to live in our own unique aligned blueprints. And just because, say, I'm a rose priestess or on a leukemia path or a medicine woman, doesn't mean that you have to. It doesn't mean that you will, and so I try to see things from an objective perspective, even the Patreon. So yes, it's a mystery school. I'm not teaching only Hermeticism or only I've been wearing white all year, so I'm wearing a lot of white this year too. I'm not teaching from one place. I'm teaching universally, objectively. You are the high priest or priestess. We're all high priests and priestesses. Life is a mystery school. And you don't have to be initiated for $30,000. I always use this joke. Hey, I got initiated and I spent probably over a lifetime, probably just around like 20K or something like that, so that you could pay $33 USD for a Patreon membership, so that you don't have to do all of that. Where do we, we dive deep for the esoteric no matter what, and that is just something that's a truth. The esoteric is not public. So even when we think that we're doing look at that, justice, truth, ma'at. So even when we do tarot and we think that we're doing esoteric, what I find kind of funny is tarot originally was an esoteric tool. We have now made it the new exoteric or mesoterica, where people are just like, no, don't talk about the darkness in tarot. Tarot is esoteric. It is esoteric. Tarot is not the Bible. And it's funny how New Age spirituality, we're kind of like treating this as like the new Bible of just like, yeah, but no, Empress, I am abundant. Esoteric was the tarot before the tarot became public. We're not going to get into that. But that's why I did Patreon Blue Rose Mystery School. For us to come into our ancient high priest and priestess remembrance through self-initiation, through your remembrance. And maybe for some of you, you'll be initiated, and that will be amazing and great. And if you don't, that will still be amazing and great. I'm not, I'm here for soul alignment, and to protect your soul destiny, your soul alignment, even if it has nothing to do with my own ego. You know, we are all here to be soul aligned and to celebrate one another, living our soul aligned destinies or lives or missions, you know. And so these, you know, Patreon Blue Rose Mystery School, these are tips, tricks, the ancient mystery school teachings and rituals that do not go by any religion. Anybody can use them. A lot of the esoteric, again, you know, you go into different religions for the esoteric or whatever, initiation, you know, again, life is your initiator. Once you step into that, you hack your life. And that's why I made the Patreon Blue Rose Mystery School. Mystery School is basically you becoming the Neo of your life. You understanding how energy works. Right? We go through our mystery school. We remember how energy works, alchemy, all these different things. And then life just starts to work in our favor more, right? Things start to manifest more. We feel more protected, more aligned as we wake up to our ancient truths, you know, again, that don't go by any religion or anything like that. Wow, thanks. Very relevant. I'm a bit shocked at the accuracy. I'm so happy it was accurate, Took. And I hope it's Took and not Tukey, because I was saying Tukey at first, but I'm very happy that it was accurate. I'm sensitive to energy, and so I don't need too much to like fully read or tap in or something. I'm telling you, sometimes I say things that I don't even realize I'm saying until I see the way people look at me. And I'm like, what did I say? Did I say the right thing that was like too right? No. And Georgiana, thank you for subbing. Yes, thank you for subscribing. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. She's the first I found who feels authentic. You know, authenticity is important to me. I was talking about it earlier too. You know, there's nothing to hide or to fake or to this or to that. You know, when it comes to online influencers, or I think anyone with an online following, we're coming out of the Leo energy, right? Leo is like glitz and glam and like celebrity. You're going to be shining from the inside out, and that's why people will maybe follow you, right? Or align with you, or watch your content or consume your content because it's real. You know, and I think those are, if anything, like the new stars, right? All of us are stars. When we're in alignment with our soul star chakra, you know, that's alignment. So your soul star chakra, that's just full alignment in this realm, in this world. You're shining bright, you know. And again, I think it's important to be authentic, you know, in a world where there's just so much online. But even now, there's so much spiritual stuff, right? That just be who you are, share your authentic message and soul light, and someone's going to resonate with it. And just for anyone who's watching me, share yourself authentically. You know, your crooked smile, your voice that's a little bit shaky, those weird parts of you. There's someone out there that loves that and that's already waiting for that. But we would never be able to create or attract a soul-aligned reality if we were to not be authentic. You know, even for me, I could look a little bit more professional and this and that. I could talk like this. It actually wouldn't be authentic. It would last maybe about 6 months or so. And then like I'm back to making a joke or something, you know, where that's my authentic self. We are Christians, but I'm something older Gnostic. Oh, nice. You're into Gnosticism. That's cool. I know a lot of Gnostic priestesses and priests. Gnosticism is very interesting. Gnosticism like believes that the devil is more like the patriarchal God. You know, I'm not going to actually go into that, but Marlon, I love and respect you too. And I just know that I read your emails and I give so much thanks for you. I really do. I give so much thanks for you through every single time, space, and dimension. There's times that you channel things that you don't even know that you channel. So thank you, Marlon, for being here, and I bless you infinitely. Yes, you're in Sidereal Ophiuchus season till December 19th. Represents Christ, wounded healer, serpent bearer, alchemy, shaman. A lot of the serpent energy, Medusa energy as well. A lot of that Medusa energy. Om Shanti. Oh, I love that. Thank you for telling me that. It's my second time watching you live. I experience timeline shifts after I watch any of your videos. I pray that your timeline shifts in a positive way. In a positive way, I pray that you timeline jump. All right, sending all of you, right, through all time and space, love, all forms of love and flowers and wealth and invisible love that you can't see, but you just have to believe it. I experience timeline shifts. I feel I've experienced negative attacks, but I'm not sure if it's evil eye or self-limiting beliefs. Yeah, and maybe like if you could be more specific of what those negative attacks are, what you mean by negative attacks. Yeah, I don't get spiritually attacked often. It's not to say that like, you know, none of us are exempt. None of us are ever holier than thou, ever. I'm thinking of when a soul sister asked me, like she got bit by a snake in her dream. And she said, Jocelyn, how do I avoid this? And it actually took a second. Because I was like, well, I don't get bit by snakes. I don't know. But and this was a real thing for me where I had to sit and I'm like, I actually don't get bit by snakes. And like, again, but master of the mind, right? It's nowhere, it's not even in my subconscious, unconscious that I fear snakes. I mean, like if I do have physical snakes, if they were to like go real quick, I am going to take my hand back. I'm not going to get bit by one. But like on a spiritual level, you know how people fear snakes? I've seen a lot of people have dreams of getting bit by snakes. I don't have dreams of getting bit by snakes. But that's also because it's not, this is the law of mentalism. Again, it's not in my subconscious or unconscious. Like I've truly released that certain fears where it's not even a fear hiding. Like it's nowhere to be hidden, found, shadow. I'm just not scared of like certain things, or I've released rather the fear of certain things. And so like that's one thing there where I had to actually think about it when she asked me of like, oh, how do you get unscared of snakes? Or, you know, of like the fear of this or that. And again, I just think that every reflection has something to teach us, right? It's not to say that there's not evil or bad things that exist, but for example, at least in say my opinion, there's no reason to fear a snake. Life taught you to. Society, dogma, religion. A snake is made by God. So the original humans did not fear a snake. They don't want to get bit by one. You don't want to get run over by a hippo. And that's not just the animal kingdom, right? We respect it. But the hippo is doing what it's doing. The snake is doing what it's doing. As a human, if someone hits you, your first instinct, fight or flight, is to punch back because you're, to some degree, we are animal, right? We're doing what we're doing. The snake is just doing what it's doing. But the snake in itself is not bad or evil, you know? And again, there's though that law of mentalism and deprogramming, unlearning, all of those different things. And so, like when it comes, say, to like the negative attacks and spiritual attacks, it's like, oh, who sent you? What are you here to teach me? You know, oftentimes when I've helped clear, like say a curse, a hex, black magic, or spiritual attack from someone, that entity that seeped in, it had something to teach the person about releasing fear of something. 77 as I say this, so 777 in the chat. A fear of something, of, you know, say greed or loss or this or that, even sometimes self-love, right? Where that entity, it actually didn't want to do anything but make that person know that, why are you scared? You know, and then the second the person was like, oh, I've realized that you have no power over me. The entity was like, oh, okay, I did my job and left. And that's actually how most spiritual attacks or negative attacks are. Those entities actually want nothing to do with you. They even don't even want to torture you. They have a specific role or job or name. And once you figure out that, right, of like the power that it had over you, oh, I didn't realize that I actually have a deep fear over this. And that's why it came into my life. And then it has no power over you. It cannot attack you anymore. So that's also just one way to work through the spiritual attacks. It's like, oh, what is it teaching me? Why did I attract this? What from within, you know, etc. And then again, the law of mentalism, the law of assumption, you cannot come into my energetic field, but it's also believing that. And I mean, truthfully believing that. So like for shadow work for that type of spiritual attack, when did we believe that our words did not have power, right? And it goes as deep as that shadow work of like, well, law of assumption and the law of mentalism, that entity cannot come into my energetic field. And I believe that. But if I don't believe that for any reason, what was the first time that I thought that my words didn't hold power, or this or that? And so it goes so deep. But again, like being easy with yourself. This is like a lifetime's process. It's like a lifetime where these things just pop up and we sharpen that sword, right, of our mind and aligning it with the heart. I never believed in Santa either. Yeah, I did not believe in Santa. I was 3 years old, but I was just too smart for my own good. And right away, hello, Ren. How are you? Thank you for being here. Only 4 reindeer. Tuh. What y'all be smoking in here? Purple lotus. Purple lotus from the Temple of Isis. That's what they used to do. Other than that, nothing. You will find your purpose when you are ready. Yeah, and I think if anything, when it comes to purpose, right? So even anyone who feels pressure of like, what my purpose, you are valuable just you being who you are. So you have purpose. And then we could find a calling, and so our purpose is to be happy. Our purpose is to enjoy our experience. Our purpose is to find alignment. And then we have a calling and we could live in that calling. Love to you. Love to Ghana. Oh, someone said the Primo and the Durango. Oh, that's hilarious. The world is corrupt. They taught the keys to the blessings was to be sought externally. The ancients that walked the true path knew it was always within. Yes, and that's why I do the mystery school stuff. Where mystery school just brings you within. That's it. Esoteric is going within. The right hand path you go without. Brings you back within. Left hand path is much more of within. And then without. No, I do not. Do I use that? No. I am the. Someone said stop spamming with that question. Someone was asking me, do I use something? I am it. I don't even do what the spiritual people do. I don't even do the mushies. Nope, I retired from that. I don't do the mushies. I don't do any of that stuff. I am the mushy. But that is why I don't do any of that stuff. So I'm someone who is like sober-minded, but it's because I became it, whatever it is that I would do, and before I was spiritual, I have a lot of Pisces in my chart. My Chiron is in Scorpio. Don't ask what I did. Just, I did that. Okay. Yeah. Before I was spiritual. And, what is that? That's escapism, right? And even with the spiritual stuff, it could be escapism too, right? We're not to lean on anything. We're not to need anything. Again, everything that we need is internal. It's not to say that you don't use things without of you, but say, for example, don't rely on the mushies. If you're relying on the mushies to do tarot readings, you need to open your third eye a different way, or the mushies to this, or this for that, it's balance in everything. Right. And so like say even in shaman, I am a medicine woman, so I work with the spirit of tobacco. But all of these medicines, again, we're not meant to hold them as crutches or to do a lot of them. We're to do them daily, right? Our source should be source. And then we have a blessing of so many different things to travel to source, to experience God through plants, through life experiences, through people, But yeah, I make the joke now that I am the mushy. I am all of those things. Just take me. Yeah, no, none of that stuff. It suppresses your alignment. And again, I'm also not someone who like judges anything and like you have to be clean and you have to be perfect. I think that we should be in control of our own energy, you know. So it's not to say that if you eat something, you know, if you eat some sugar, you know, I don't have a lot of sugar. I don't like eat a lot of processed sugar in my life. I do like Dunkin' Donuts. I order the best thing you could probably get from there. Um, I'm also not in fear though if I have sugar or if I have this or if I have that. I don't give it any power over me. I think that's key is you give nothing power over you. No entity, no person. I give no mentor power over me. You know, do I have mentors? Yes. Why I still have mentors? You know, there's this talk of like, do we have coaches and mentors? Do we not? The power's within you. I think it's silly not to. They've helped and changed my life. They see my blind spots, you know. And there's balance of having mentors and not having mentors. When the teacher disappears, it's because the student is ready. When the teacher appears, the student's also ready, you know. But I never give them power over me. You know, I don't give anything power over me. And I think that's just the key. No, sativa, no, it suppresses the spirit. Well, cannabis is the same classification, similar classification as ayahuasca, where now it's a she. So cannabis is a feminine spirit, and she has her own traits and qualities, but she has a light and shadow quality, cannabis. And so it's working with her because if not, right, the way most people in the world are, most people in the world are not actually experiencing cannabis at all. They're experiencing a placebo of what they think is cannabis. And I'm talking about the spirit. Because when you're not connecting to the spirit of a plant, you know, there's so much actually more that that plant gives you. But when you're working with the spirit of the plant, it isn't like moderation. It's not to be used all day, every day, or anything like that. Yes, and human being, I know exactly what you mean by that. It's not saliva. No, none of that. No, 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 no. I gave my life to Jesus. How can I access my gifts? I would say start with meditation. You know, like starting with meditation on do you see and do you feel anything? You know, speaking of plant medicine's a way to open up gifts for people. I'm someone that I don't plan to open more. Nope. Nope. I don't. Well, I will open more, but um, yeah, plant medicine can like help you open up your gifts too. I have a lot of Pisces, so I've focused more on the past few years of more of my Virgo and my Earth actually placements. I have a lot of Pisces in 12th house. When you have a lot of something, it's a strength, it's also a weakness. So I've been working the past few years more on the Virgo energy. I don't view or entertain negativity. Yes, you don't entertain it, but you can handle it. Yeah, I like that. How do I control what comes to my mind? Being the observer. And so it's like, it's practice, you know, and it really is practice where, you know, in 2 years is how you really change your mindset. If it's just affirmations, it takes that long for you to believe it. Aligned actions, it could be way quicker than 2 years. But how do you control your mind is by observing your mind. And so like practicing each day, observe your mind, write things down, just take note. What is my own, what is not? You know, I can tell when someone's projecting thoughts to my energetic field that are not of my own, you know, of like, I start to like feel it and think it. I'm like, oh, I don't usually feel or think that way. You know, so just, it's discerning, you know, what your beliefs are and what your beliefs are not. And so when you're feeling those energies, those things, those beliefs, am I picking up on energy, etc. I love that, Edward. Yeah, you know, where we all align somewhere for a reason. What to do if girls pray for me in my dream, like on the floor. Oh, Sean, if a girl's praying for you, that now I don't know who the girl is, so I guess I can't speak for it. I don't know your situation, but it means that there's probably a woman or the feminine or even the mothers in your lineage praying for you. Yes, no religion is the truth, but the truth can be found in every religion. Nice try. Oh my gosh. Even Jesus said you don't need a religion. Yeah, yes, he did. And then they confused it, and then they started putting in their own words. And then they say, don't listen to the word. If it's not in the Bible, you can't take it. Jesus didn't even say any of that. They repeated what Jesus said and then added in their own opinion. And then we have to listen to every word and only that word. I don't know. The fact that you came to be negative shows. Sean, King Solomon. I had a dream about King Solomon. I won't share the dream that I had. King Solomon came to my dream less than a week ago. And what he said to me was true, where it was a part of his story. He was like, I need to tell you about this. I will share this. King Solomon said, you remind me of me. And he said that in the dream. And he's like a guide of mine. I love King Solomon. He's so cool. How much do you charge for a couple reading? I don't. If it's like, say, 2 people in one, I don't have actually a section for that. So feel free to like book a 1-person session and to bring your partner. I don't have a 2-person reading kind of thing. That's a good idea though. But yeah, feel free to book for 1 person and we'll bring your partner in. I'm just not just into Gnostics. I have no religion but love. Me too. And sometimes people confuse it when it comes to me because I am, mystery school, all that, but in my mind. And what's more important is, again, your intention in the mind. I believe, like say universal laws, the way that the matrix, whatever. There's multiple matrices too, where we're like, oh, let's escape the matrix. And then you're in the matrix of astrology, which is another matrix that you can transcend that too, But what was the question here? Oh yeah, but just love. Yeah, I just believe in love. Yeah, love, what makes you rise in consciousness. I believe in consciousness, and I think that every religion talks about consciousness a little bit differently. And a lot of times it's the same thing. I don't know what's going on there. Let's see. Are you a witch? I don't like that term. I actually don't like that term. I've said that since the beginning. I always felt older than the term witch, which there is older than the term witch. To me, witchy, when I think of it, of how society thinks of witch, of just someone who's like making things happen. I believe in God's will and I believe in alignment. So even as a witch, I believe in all witches aren't going to like that I say this, of like working with, say, your highest timeline, the higher energies, things like that. You don't have, whatever. Witches don't like when I talk about that, God's will and stuff like that. To some people, I'd be determined as a witch, maybe at the stake. I don't know. However, I just believe in God. I believe in working with God's will. I don't believe in taking anyone's free will at all. I don't believe in that. However, I like priestess better. But witch is really just someone who has wisdom of the elements to bring change, right, to the outer reality. I'm going through a very hard time. Blessings, Gabrielle. I'm getting through all the comments now, as there's a lot of comments here. Oh yeah, my Blue Lotus joke. I'm at these now. I'm chosen from Australia. Yes. Big Geezer. Hello, Big Geezer. I've been so busy, Big Geezer. I'll need to update you on life. I think I still have your number. You may have my number. I may still have your number. I may have a different phone by now. I definitely probably have a different phone by now. I did combo 2. So I've done combo 9 times. But I've done a lot of plant medicine, but again, it's like it was in training, right? So we don't do plant medicine to make us feel a certain way, because then we'd be holding on to it as a crutch. I did a lot of plant medicine in my training, and now I do plant medicine if I'm called. Only if I'm like called. If I'm called to do a release of this or that, I still serve plant medicine in ceremonies with different medicine men and women, but you don't see me doing like a bunch of plant medicine anymore. I have done combo 9 times, yes. Combo healed me from incurable diseases. And so, again, I'm not giving medical advice. I know nothing. I'm not a medical doctor. Do not seek me for medical advice. But I can give some educational teachings of just what I've experienced. Combo was one that did change my life, truly. And it was worth it for me, you know. Combo is like a lymphatic cleanse. It's a shamanic medicine for anyone who's going to be with us in Puerto Rico. We're going to have Cacique Antonio, rather. He's my soul brother. He's a Taino cacique, and he's going to be there serving combo and other medicines. We're going to have our sister priestess, Victoria, and myself. Some of us are going to be serving plant medicine, some of us are going to be assisting, and some of us are going to be holding different meditation spaces. But combo is one medicine that is going to be in Puerto Rico for our retreat for the Sacred Union portal, 11/11/2026. In combo, I did do that 9 times. Are you opium? No. How do you get authentic blue lotus? You can go online to, they have like authentic sites. I would say it's kind of like, you know, and I like that you mentioned authentic because everybody has blue lotus or purple lotus online. And so just like, you know, reading, that's something too. Like we all need to really read like what we buy, and even tarot, like reading the fine print, you know, things like that. Read like where it's grown, and everyone should like say where they get the purple or blue lotus from. Try to like read of where it's grown, where it's like derived or harvested from. Amazon may even have some. Etsy, you know, it's individual. So I mean, Amazon is too, but. Herba Rosa, I like that. Yes, thank you for giving that to them. What Virgo placements do you have? So my Virgo's in the 12th house of Pisces, actually. At first, I didn't like that. And then I realized it's actually a good thing to have Virgo in the house of Pisces. That can actually be very grounding. You know, where Pisces and Virgo are opposite, but to have them together, that could actually be a good thing. So I learned to embrace that. But my Virgo, Stoicism. Sorry, I got distracted by that. I got a book on Stoicism recently. Yeah, my Virgo's in the 12th house. It's my Lilith and my North Node. Yes, Stoicism. And not to the point, you know, where you're so stoic that you're hard as a rock. But it's interesting. I was reading about Stoicism, and it's more of the law of mentalism, really. To be stoic, rather. For all of you that watch me, I have a speech impediment. Stoic is to adopt and to apply the law of mentalism to your life. To be stoic does not mean that you are cold. It means that, I understand that something's operating through this life change, and I'm going to remain stoic through it. Not cold, but honoring what's coming up, honoring that life is changing, you know, and yeah, there's a lot that goes into Stoicism. Stoicism. I have a speech impediment. Certain words. Yes, well, I can't message you from here. So if anyone wants me to message them, they can go to the email letsgohome7777@gmail.com, or you can message me on Patreon. Now, there's a free option. There's nothing on the free option. Like, you're just going to be, if you join the free option, you're only seeing what's uploaded to, like the title, I think, but you don't really get anything from there. It starts at $7.77. You get a new full moon ritual every single moon phase and cycle specific to that one. You do get some mystery school teachings, not all. You get exclusive access first to all channel members' videos, and then your own videos too, some astrology updates, etc. The tier 2, which is $33 a month, which you're actually reminding me there's another, something it is I was going to upload for tier 2 today. You can join that for Mystery School Teachings. That's basically my ancient grimoire, the rituals, the Mystery School experiences, the things that we just cannot say publicly. We're putting it all there. But even like the rituals, the spiritual truths, we're putting it all there in tier 2. So feel free to join. Now, if you're applying all of the rituals, all of the teachings, etc., you should be able to like bring more abundance into your life, to make different changes to your life by applying what's on there. And then we are going to have monthly gatherings. Okay, so we're meeting on the 29th for all of those who are on Patreon. And if you'd like to join, you can go to the Patreon. It's for sale to join. So if you don't want to, if you ever see something on Patreon but don't want to join, you can buy that one aspect of the Patreon. So you could join us on December 29th without joining the Patreon. I highly recommend reading Testimony of Mary Magdalene. Yes. Stephanie, yeah, feel free to email me, or you can go to 144bluerosetemple.com. Blessings to India. Hi, ma'am. Where are you from? I live in Connecticut right now. Blessings to India. It is my dream to go to India. I know. Did you know Jesus loves me? Loves you? Yeah. Thank you. Jesus loves you too. Jesus loves us all. Ethiopian Bible has all the books. Yeah, I really want to read the Ethiopian Bible. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Let's see. I'm the seer. Yes. Yes. Tarot and witchcraft are two separate things. Now, back in the days, tarot was more of like for the esoteric, for the witches, this and that. Like tarot wasn't as popular used. Like tarot was more of like a hush hush kind of thing. Now I love it. I love it how tarot is like just becoming normal of like, hey, did you get your tarot reading today? I actually like that. Om Namaha Shiva. In the name of the goddess, I rebuke you, Jesus. Be gone. Are you rebuking the goddess? Are you rebuking Jesus? What are you doing? I kind of want to defend them both. Jesus is cool. So is the goddess. All right. Let's get some closing messages. I got all the way to the bottom of the comments over here. Let's get some closing messages for all the co-creators out there. Law of mentalism, law of assumption is how it starts. All right. For the chosen ones out there, for all the co-creators, what messages do we have on everything that they are co-creating? Well, what do we have for the co-creators on all of their manifestations and co-creations? It is happening. Stay focused. Law of mentalism, stay focused because your prayer is being answered. All right. We do have charity, prayer, and contemplation. Connect with heaven. Ask and you shall receive. Focused intention. Think about what you desire. Set your sights high. Expect the best possible outcome. So just confirmation, it is doing the works of the praying, of the rituals, of the this, of the that. It's also focusing on that, believing in it. Don't light a candle, don't set an intention, and then 24 hours, oh, it didn't work. That's not how magic works. That's like barely even how black magic technique works. That's just not how it works. Your mind is the magic. And so law of assumption, the second that you say a prayer, and just from today, practicing. And then soon, like you'll see things manifest faster and faster and faster. Where, say you do a candle, before, it's like it takes a whole month for you to see a change. Law of assumption, I just said the prayer, I just did the candle. It's coming in. And you're going to see things come in more consistently and faster. Okay? These bots are hilarious. Thank you for giving me an example of the law of mentalism. Think about what you desire, set your sights high, expect the best possible outcome. And then Kalima, facing fear. We talk so much about fear and the mind. Join Join the Patreon. Patreon, we talk about how black magic is fear of the mind and how to transcend it. So feel free to go join the Patreon. But co-creators out there, whoever you are, you have a goal, an intention, a manifestation. Do the ritual, do the prayer, do the scripting, do whatever you have to do. Keep your mind focused on it. And then we have facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. Your fear is the possibility, the infinite possibilities of what could happen. What if it doesn't happen? Law of assumption, going past all the fear. No, I don't have fear. Law of assumption. I just did this. It's going to come in. I release control of how it comes in. But I just said the prayer. I just did the ritual. Law of assumption. It's going to come in. But then believing that, and it's okay if you don't believe it at first, right? It's practicing. And then over time, you do believe it. They say it takes 2 years to say the affirmations and then to believe it. Okay? And so that's what I have for you. I hope that it resonates in a positive way. All right. I hope that all of your magic, all of your manifestations, all of your goals and intentions manifest for you watching this video here and today. And just thank you for being here today. All right. We have some things coming on the Patreon, so feel free to go join it. Tomorrow, channel members, you get a few videos as well. The Sacred Place 4, do you do breath work, sister? Yes. Every single day. Every day, meditation, prayer, and breath work. Which to me is like the core foundation of just everything we do, every practice. Is knowing how to breathe, before we do anything. That's also why I said in the beginning of this reading and video to just do everything else before the astral projecting. Astral projecting, astral traveling, know how to breathe, feel safe within yourself, all of these different things. Okay, it's a pleasure being with you here, and it's a pleasure having you here. So thank you for being here as always. I'm going to go live a few times this week. We're going to upload a few things to Patreon. We uploaded a Pisces video yesterday. So tomorrow, Pisces, you have a video upcoming. All right. But again, thank you for being here. I'm sending you all infinite love and infinite blessings.